Just a minute. Doing a transition on this technology. I think here I am.
Thank you.
So, you good?
Yeah.
Hi. Who prays for us today? Looking at your faces, eh? Who has enough faith? Young man, what's your name? Alpha. Okay. Alpha, please pray for us as we start, so that we just keep off, because it's already, we are behind time by 7 minutes. So you can pray for us.
Let's pray. Dear God, at the end of this week, dear God, there will be those ideas that will continue, dear God, that all of them will be founded here, dear God. We pray church building, dear God.
Amen. Thank you, Alphax, and thank you, our students, for joining us today. This is our third day in the Innovation Week. We've been listening to great ideas, great innovations, and our aim is to help you actualize these ideas to practicable and applicable solutions that are workable, and connect you to the right people that can help you catalyze your work to another level. And I want to introduce again our director, maybe just to say hi.
Thank you. Welcome again this morning. Good morning. Welcome to this third session.
Thank you, Director. We are live on YouTube and also on Zoom. For those who are joining us remotely, there's a link that has been shared, so you can follow from wherever you are. And this morning we are privileged to have one of our guests who is an angel investor, and he's so passionate about innovations. And without taking so much time, I want to invite Amadou. Chico is a good friend of mine. We met in a very interesting place. And we want to change the innovation ecosystem in this region, so that we can see something good coming out of Meru and Mount Kenya region. So you're welcome, Chico, to give your remarks and speak to these innovators in this room, and also those who are following us remotely, so that we can see how we can bring new change and new energy in our innovation ecosystem in Mount Kenya region. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amos.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I hope you're all doing well. And those also who are following us online, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Amadou Chico Sissoko. I'm an innovation catalyst. I define innovation as creating value for stakeholders, for communities, for partners, for customers. And I remember I had a talk here where I had a chance to explain that further as to what does it mean to be an innovator. And I know many of us have attended these innovation weeks before, and you've come up with some great idea. You've pitched the idea to a panel, and then they awarded you money, right? Or you won the award for the innovation. And then 6 months or 6 years later, you're still attending another innovation week with another innovation, trying to gain another award. And then 6 months and 6 years later, you're attending another innovation week with another innovation, trying to get another award. And so I wonder what type of innovator you are. Because if you're constantly going to innovation weeks trying to get grants, you're not spending time getting customers. You're not spending time raising capital from angel investors or investors to grow your business. You're not spending time listening to your customers, trying to understand what problems they have so that you can improve upon the innovation. I call those conferencepreneurs, right? People who go to conferences so that they can sell ideas and build their own personal brand. If you want to build an innovation, you must give yourself at least 7 years, right? It must be something that you want to do for the next 7 years. It must be something that you're willing to try and fail and persevere for at least 7 years. And why 7 years? It's because most of the time when we're young, our expectations of things and our motivation is very high, right? We're very motivated. We have a lot of energy. Same with me. When I started off and I wanted to build my first business, it was in high school when I was 18. I saw an opportunity in the neighborhood where I was that people like to hire movies. They like to hire out movies. So when I finished, rather than buying a phone, I went and bought a little generator because there was no electricity. I went to buy a burner, and I bought a lot of these movies, Nigerian movies, Hindu movies, and all. And I started that as a business. And that business failed. Why did it fail? It failed because at some point I had to get ready for university, and I hired an uncle of mine. And that uncle of mine was the person who I believed would be able to run the business when I wasn't there. And so this guy, what he did was he took the business and made it his. He would have his friends, his girlfriends, or the girls he wanted to make his friends, invite them over to give them movies for free. Right? So all these people would come to this place thinking like it's his place, they could rent the movies out for free, and the business suffered. When I came back and I asked him, I said, so how much money have you been making from this activity? He gave me some fake numbers, and also I looked at the numbers, they weren't making sense. I said, okay, I'm going to run the business myself for a few days. So I did 4 days. In 4 or 5 days, I made more money than he was making in 2 weeks. And that was my first experience of how to run a business. Because I got angry. I got frustrated. And my frustration, what did I do? I closed the business. Right? I was in my 20s, my early 20s. I closed the business. When I closed the business, I took all the stuff home, kept it there, and said, okay, I'm moving on to something else. Many, many years later, that's something I wouldn't do, right? Because the mistakes I made were what? I hired the wrong person. I didn't really vet them. Right? I hired a friend or a family member because I thought that was the easiest way to do it. Secondly, I didn't have any controls over the business. There was no way for me to control the business when I wasn't there. Right? And thirdly, I let my emotions guide my decision making. Now, those are 3 simple errors that I made in my early 20s. But those 3 simple errors people make even in their late 40s. Right? You hire the wrong people. Because most of the time when you're starting off, who do you start off with? You start off with your friend, isn't it? Right? Your friends in university. Oh, we like to eat chapati together. We like the same type of music. We spend all this time together. We're studying in the same class. We can build a business together. But what about when you leave university? Are your needs the same? Is your vision the same? Are your ambitions the same? Do you want to create the same future? Many startups that I've seen over my years in my career as a trainer or as an entrepreneur, they have the same needs when they're looking for the money. But immediately they get the money, their needs change. Think about that. Right now, you want to win this competition. Let's say there's money on the table, right? You have a startup idea, and you're coming here to pitch it. You and your founder, your co-founder. At this very moment, you both have the same desires, right? You want to win that competition. You want to win those funds. Once you win the funds, you believe we're going to do what? We're going to reinvest the money where? In the business, right? That's the first thought that you have. But then the check comes into the bank account. And one's mother starts calling. One's girlfriend starts calling. One's brother starts calling. Everybody now starts calling, right? And they also have needs. And you yourself, you have needs. You're like, oh no, since we need to raise money, I need to go buy a new suit. I need to go buy a new dress. So you start having different priorities than you initially had when you were looking for the money. That's how a lot of startups fail. The second thing was what? Controls. Controls over the business, right? Each and every one of us, we're human beings. We can't be working all the time. There are moments when we're not working, right? We can fall sick. We can have challenges. We can have exams, right? What systems do you put in place to make sure that the startup you're working on is making progress even when you're not there? Those are things that we don't think about, isn't it? I work when I'm awake, right? When I'm asleep, things should just wait for me till I come. Or maybe you just finished university and now you get a job opportunity, right? And the idea you were pursuing and the job opportunity are going in two separate directions. What happens to the startup? Right? Or maybe you get a travel opportunity, right? You get a further education. You get to have the opportunity to go do your master's in Edinburgh. What happens to the idea you started in your dorm? That's the reason why it takes many years for you to build a successful company. A successful company. Because at the end of the day, investors and people in the market who have the money to invest in an idea don't care about the idea. They care about the company that is going to sell the idea. You understand? So you're not in the business of creating innovations. You're in the business of creating companies that create innovations. All the great companies that you know of, every single one of them. I'll take this company as an example. I see how many products here. I see 1 product, 2 products, 3 products. Right? Maybe they have what? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products, right? Those are 5 products of one company, right? Some of those products will fail. Okay? Some of those products will fail. They'll go into the market, people will say it's too expensive, or it's too hard to use, or it will fail for one reason or another. Or maybe they won't know how to market it. They'll put the wrong person at the head of the project, and they'll fail to achieve the market objectives. But one of the products could work, right? One of the products could become the best-selling product. Maybe this sanitary pad incinerator could be the only good-selling product of the company. And now the entrepreneur has to make the decision, where do I allocate my resources? Right? Where do I put the resources to ensure that the company succeeds? Maybe they want to sell the pads, right? They want to focus on the pads. They feel like, oh, this is the best pads we have. This is where we're making the biggest margins. Our cost to produce is low, but our margins on selling is high. But the market hates your pads. When the women wear the pads, they get allergies. They don't like your pads. But they're buying your incinerator. And now you as the entrepreneur, because your ego is also in play, you want to sell pads. You could make the company fail. Many companies have failed like that. That's why I say again, you need to give yourself 7 years. Your business could succeed in 3. But the reason why you're giving yourself 7 is because you want to allow you as the individual to grow into a person who can build an innovative company, who can grow an innovative company, who can sell an innovative company, who could take an innovative company to the stock market. Your goal is not just to be an innovator who's sitting there coming up with innovations, but then you're still broke, or you're still hungry, or you're still running around innovation weeks, competing for small grant funding. You should be sitting in the panel investing in the company. You understand what I'm saying? The reason why, when you're thinking about building innovations, you also need to think about the company you're building, is because no one invests in the innovation. Okay? Unless you're giving a grant for research, and someone is investing in research, right? They're investing in the company that is going to sell the innovation. And that company, even if that company won't sell the innovation itself, it's going to license the innovation to another company. It's still through that company that the investor makes their money. So as you are thinking about how you're going to get people to buy into this great idea that you've come up with, you also have to think about the person you need to become in order for people to be looking out for you for what is your next great idea. For me, when I came to this country, I came with a vision. I wanted to be a part of the Vision 2030, right? In my country, I had a master plan. I wanted to train 1 million people. We're 12 million people, right? So I have a theory that if you take any country in the world, any society, any group of people, and you train 10% of them, 10% of the leaders, you train them in innovation and entrepreneurship, and then you give them the resources to go out and build innovations, their innovations are going to succeed, culture is going to prevail, and they're going to transform the rest of the society. So in my country, we're 12 million people. If I could train 1 million of them in innovation and get their minds to change about innovation, for them to have the courage to build their own innovations, and then we create innovation centers across the country to fund their ideas, we could create an innovative nation, right? I called it the Mass Innovation Initiative. Because you have to understand that there are people out there who sit down, they call them economists, right? And they sit down and they think of the plan of this nation, right? And that's how they came up with the Vision 2030 came, and I saw another country like Kenya that had a vision, right? That I felt like made sense. Vision 2030, becoming the hub of innovation in Africa, right? The hub of innovation means what? The place where innovations are created and then they're sold to other countries, right? I said, hey, let me go there, help them achieve that goal, and then I'll take that knowledge, package it into a training or a workshop or whatever, and go and train other countries of how they can leapfrog to the same. So if it took Kenya maybe 10 years to do it, I could then help another country to do it in 5 years, right? Because we could take the good lessons that Kenya has used, and that's why you see today Rwanda is attracting a lot of attention and investments, because they bet on themselves, isn't it? They don't have natural resources, right? They don't have large pieces of land, they have human capital. So they thought, what do we make of our human capital so that people come and create companies in Rwanda, and those companies operate all across East Africa. So when I saw that Kenya had that vision, I came. And in my first year, my business was to help Kenyan innovators sell their innovations, right? And I met one young man who had been in many of these types of events like this, had won several awards, and he had a very interesting innovation. It was a soul, and I think Amos must know him as well, because I feel like you've met him somewhere. I don't know where I've seen him. He made a sole, right, that you wear in a shoe, and as you walk, it has a battery inside that charges the sole. Then you go home and you can plug that to your phone and charge it. Very creative idea, isn't it? Right? Like, how many of us have had like nights where our phone was off and we couldn't charge it because there was no electricity? Everybody, right? But the whole day you were walking, right? So imagine, like, you just walk, electricity, no electricity, you walk, you get home, all you do is like, plug your energy, and I made it. So for me, this is like a great innovation. And I said, wow, okay, I met the guy. We met, I think, either at iHub or was it MAGA? And then we met again in some coffee shop. We met several times, so that I can understand. But I never saw the product, because that was my naivete at the time. I had never seen the product. All I had seen were photos of the product. All I had seen was pictures of this guy pitching this product, some awards that he had won, but I'd never seen the product. But I didn't need to see the product to sell the product, right? So I knew that we could license that product to a company like Nike, right? Why not? Nike could sell more shoes in developing nations where there's no electricity, right? If those shoes had soles, right? That could be to electricity. I knew we could sell it to schools. Schools is a company that makes soles, right? Comfortable soles for your shoes. I knew we could get even a Chinese manufacturer to license the technology, and he would get paid for life. Which would allow him to do what? To build other innovations. You remember I said you want to become the guy or the lady who is known for building companies that create many innovations. You don't want to be a one trick pony. You just did one thing, you won one award, and then it's finished. Then you go around with your village buddies and say, hey, okay? Your network is more than your net worth. All right? You don't know who the person sitting next to you will be tomorrow. Don't screw them. Okay? So this guy, what does he do? I talk with Aaron, and I tell Aaron, I said, there's a guy here who I believe has a great innovation that can be licensed to a company. He tells me to tell him more about it. The pitch deck that I created, a guy I sent him, he looked at it, he said, this is interesting. Why don't we arrange a meeting, or let me get samples? This was in 2015. Let me get samples. I called the guy, I asked him, how much are samples? He tells me the samples were, I think, 6,000 or 8,000 or something like that. Aaron sends me the money to M-Pesa. I sent him the money to M-Pesa. Till today, I haven't seen the guy. This was in January or February 2015. Maybe, no, around March or April. Yeah. Till today, I haven't seen that guy. You've all heard of MEST, right? You all know MEST, right? MEST. You've heard of MEST, right? Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology. I'm sure you've all heard of MEST, right? If you're in technology, you know what MEST is, right? Aaron was at the head of MEST. Now imagine if this young man had just shown up, where he would be today. Right? But he didn't. He took the money, probably went, drank the money, right? Took the money, probably went, paid off loans. Took the money, probably, I don't know. I don't know what he did with the money because I've never seen him again. But I never forget that experience because what it did is it put me in a very difficult and compromising situation, right? With someone where I didn't get the product, I didn't get the money, right? And my reputation was set aside. And it taught me that I also needed to start focusing on my own projects and my own products, right? And so that was an experience that allowed me to now start understanding that not anyone who says they're an innovator is an innovator, right? Not anyone who creates an innovative product can create an innovative company. And so it's better to become that person who can create the company than to become the person who creates the product. Because to create the company, you need to be reliable. That's something you cannot learn in class, how to be reliable. It's better to be reliable than to be honest. If you were to tell me to choose between two people, one is very reliable and one is very honest, like you watch Liar Liar, right? Where like he had this problem where he couldn't tell lies, he had to tell the truth for everything, right? So I'd rather someone who's reliable than someone who's honest. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're honest, it means even when you do a mistake, you recognize that you made a mistake. Okay? So for example, we agree on something. You and I, we agree on a deal. Okay? You're going to do this, I am going to do that. You're honest, you tell me, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't do it. Okay? You're honest, right? You are honest. You're reliable, you know what you tell me? I'm sorry, I won't be able to do it. Before you commit. Because someone who's reliable tells you what they will do, and they do it. What they won't do, they don't engage themselves. You see the difference, huh? The honest person will engage themselves. I'll do it. And then when they don't do it, they say, I'm sorry, I didn't do it. They don't give you excuses. Because that's the lie. But the reliable person, they only engage themselves in the things that they know they can do, or when they know they cannot do it or won't do it, what will they say? They'll say no. You understand? Those are things you cannot learn in a year. Those are things you cannot learn overnight. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because we are in a very fast-paced industry, technology, right? So we want to get things done very quickly. But we forget that you cannot put 9 women in a room and get a baby in 1 month. I know it takes time to get that one. Right? You cannot bring 9 women together and say, oh, the next month we have a baby. The baby is going to take 9 months. Okay? You can build a website overnight, right? But you can't build a company overnight. And at the end of the day, your goal is not just to have a website. It's to have what? A company that builds websites. Does that make sense? Right? You can build a website builder, an automated website builder, no? And it builds websites for you. You sit down and you eat all the money. Okay, then what? What's the next step? What's the next step? People want customized websites, right? People have functionalities that are different. So you need to do what? You need to hire other people. And those other people need to do what? They need to get paid, right? And when you're paying them, they need to pay taxes. You're thinking, no, me, I just need to think, no, me, I just want to code. No, you're not just going to code. You understand? You're going to have to learn how to negotiate. You're going to learn how to talk to people. You're going to learn how to hire people. You have to learn how to fire people. Okay? That's part of becoming an entrepreneur. Those are the things that you won't learn in a book. And even if you read a book where they told you about their personal experience, like I'm telling you about my personal experience, when it will be your turn, your story will be different. Right? You may find the right innovator, right? Find an investor. The innovator shows up, but then the investor doesn't show up. That happens too, right? He could have gotten me the product. We go and we give it to the guy, then the guy steals it and runs away. Those things have happened also, right? I was told the other day someone was buying land from a brother, and the other brother had sold to someone else. So 2 people came for the ownership of the same land. It happens, doesn't it? Right? Now imagine that you have some proprietary technology, right? The lawyer you hire to go and do it for you goes and creates another company and files the same before he files yours. I'm sure you never heard of that, right? But it happens. I've seen people go to a lawyer, say, okay, I've heard that this company and Safaricom are going to do a deal, right? Let's go and license in advance whatever they're going to do, so that when they come, they found that they've been blocked, and then they have to pay us. It's fraud. But it's out there. You understand? Those are things that you're going to have to learn how to deal with as you're building the innovation. So the innovation is not everything. If there's one thing I want you to leave here with today from this talk, is that the innovation is not enough. You must become that person who can manage and grow a company that creates multiple innovations, that creates lots of value for customers, for shareholders, for employees, for communities, for investors. That should be your focus. And if you win one event before you have customers, focus on getting customers. If you build a product that people say very innovative, if you don't have customers, it's not innovative. Focus on customers. You start making the money, reinvest in the company, not in yourself. Reinvest in the company. The investment you should make in yourself is to seek out for knowledge and for mentors. The reason why you see many of the entrepreneurs that are highly successful, they live below their means, right? But they invest a lot of money where? In knowledge and experiences. If you know there's a train somewhere, it's going to cost you $1 million. But in that room, you're going to meet people who are worth $1 billion. Spend $1 million. For sure. Because you know that in that room where the training cost $1 million, you're going to meet someone who could afford that $1 million, right? And you are barely trying to keep that $1 million. That person who could afford that $1 million, the simple fact that you're sitting next to one another is going to give you one word or one advice that's going to take your company from $1 million to $10 million. But the free and the free and the free and the free, who do you meet then? People who are coming for free coffee, right? Am I wrong? When you go to a networking event that is free, most of the time, I remember this in Nairobi, people were hopping from, they would go to one in the morning, then they go to one in midday, then to go to one in the evening. What are they going for? They weren't going for the knowledge of the net, they were going for the food. It's true. What are you going to learn from that person? Someone tells you, oh, I'm going to give you business advice. They don't have a business. What are you going to learn from them? Right? Someone's going to give you some technical expertise. They've never built a product. What are you going to learn from them? Right? You learn from those who have done it. Because they can give you the raw experience of how you can do it. Hence why, again, give yourself 7 years. In the 7 years, you could fail as many times as possible. But you're failing towards what? That end goal, right? You may strike the goal in 4, but you only be able to exploit it 3 years later. I have big dreams, right? Even as I'm speaking to myself as well. I have to always remind myself to push the goal forward. Because I always want to make big things happen in very small amounts of time. And the consequence of that is you rush people too much, too fast. And sometimes, even God, because I believe that the things I pursue come from God, I first go seek wisdom from Him before I go, and pursue whatever I want to do. That's my process, right? I go first, I pray. Where do you want me to be now? I get the clarity, and then I start pursuing it. But even that, in the pursuit, I can want to go too fast. So what happened? I start to encounter challenges. Because there's always something I don't know. There's always a contact I don't have. There's always an experience I haven't gained. And so what do? I seek out for those people at the start. And the good thing is when you have good mentors, they're always reminding you. It's always a process. Take your time. Good mentors always tell you, take your time. It's a process. But your friends are like, no, let's go get it done today. But they don't have the resources to go. Right? You're all broke. Right? You're all fundraising. How can you help each other? You're all fundraising. Huh? That's why I say small company and small company cannot partner. You have nothing. I have nothing. What partnership are we making? You're trying to get out of the water. I'm trying to get out of the water. You're pulling me down. I'm pulling you down. Each of us is trying. How are we helping each other? You want to create value for the big fish. You understand? Like when you're thinking of partnerships, you want to partner with someone who's going to pull you way out of the water, right? To the point where you're completely dry. But what do you need to have for them to do that for you? You also need to have a unique knowledge or a unique experience or a unique product that they don't have access to. Does that make sense? So give yourself time as you're building your innovations. Build yourselves into the entrepreneurs, the business owners who can create multiple innovations, who have an organization that creates multiple innovations. And I guarantee you, in this market that you're living in, it's one of the best in Africa. Sorry? You'll hear a lot of people say that a lot of innovations are coming out of Nigeria, right? The recent unicorns in Africa came out of Nigeria, right? But what is their population count? Who knows the population of Nigeria? Huh? How many? So how many?
254 million.
It's more.
280 million.
Yeah, there are about 300 million, right? That's unofficial. If you go official, maybe it's 500 million. Right? Official is 300 million, unofficial is around 500, right? So they have a very large population, isn't it? Right? If you have a very large population of people, let's say 30 million of them, okay? are out there building apps. For sure. Come on. 3 or 4 or 5 of them are going to build great apps, isn't it? It's just like statistics, isn't it? If 1%, like the top, if it's high, it's going to be high. South Africa, the same. Egypt, the same. Right? Now, when you keep going down, you come to Kenya. You have 50 or more million people. That's a huge population in Africa. Most African countries are around 12, 13, 15, okay? And then when you think of the East African population, that's 100 million people, right? So imagine now Nigeria has a larger population than the whole of East Africa. So it makes sense that, a lot of innovations are coming out of there. Does that make sense to you? However, the culture of entrepreneurship that exists in Kenya, the infrastructure for the development of innovation that exists here doesn't exist anywhere else in Africa. Okay? You as Kenyans have a unique competitive advantage compared to every other country on this continent. And so in the long run, Kenyans are going to come up with better innovations than other countries in Africa. That's what I believe. And so you as Kenyans will see that as a competitive advantage. If you are from a country like Congo, either DRC or the Republic of Congo, you do not have the same opportunities as a young person as you do in Kenya. If you're a country like Burundi, even if you're from Rwanda, even if you're from Somalia, you're from the Zambia, you're from Burkina Faso or Togo, they do not have the same opportunities as you have in Kenya. You need to take advantage of those opportunities. This university that we have on the continent is one of the top universities in Africa. So you may undermine yourselves and think, oh, we're sitting here in the bushes of Chiru and but compared to the continent, you are far ahead. And so you should take ownership of that. That's your pedigree. You understand? It's like when you're buying dogs, right? You see there's a stray dog on the street, and then someone is selling a German Shepherd. Which one is more expensive? But they're all dogs, right? Why is the German Shepherd more expensive? Why? Because it's considered a superior race, isn't it? Right? So it has what? It has a competitive advantage in its genetics compared to the stray dog. That's what you have as Kenyans. By the fact of just being a Kenyan, you have a competitive advantage in innovation compared to another young person in Togo, for example. You need to take advantage of that. So be patient, build for the long term, right? Surround yourself with great mentors, great advisors who will keep you on track. Never give up. When I say never give up, it's not just like a motivational slogan. It's because as you keep doing, you get better. So if you give up, you get stuck. The reason why you continue persevering is because you get better, and as you get better, the opportunities start becoming easier for you to seize. I build better businesses today than I was building 10 years ago. Why? Because I never stopped trying, right? And because I never stopped trying, I always end up finding success. So it's the same thing with you. The first one may fail, the second one may fail, the 33rd one may fail, the 56th one may fail, but maybe the 103rd one will be the great success. Are you willing to persevere until you get there? Or when you get to 3, you say, well, me, I can't anymore. I'm ashamed of what the people will say. So don't give up and dream big. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chico, for that very inspiring talk. Let's appreciate him again. So, could be at this moment, I would want to give the audience time. If you'd want to react to Chico's presentation is here. Anybody with a question or a compliment to Chico, our chief guest today, or keynote address? Anyone in the audience? So we are very happy with the presentation. Okay, thank you very much, Chico, for that very inspiring talk. You have started our day on a very high note. You have set the bar high, and I hope the presenters that are going to present today are really taking to consideration what you said, and also try and apply some of our pitches. It is a very good start, and it actually backstops us in whatever we want to do today. So we want to start our program of the day, and before I do that, I want to introduce one of our guests who will be doing a presentation on the innovations that you're seeing here. This is Catherine. She's one of the recipients of the commercialization grants from the Kenya National Investment Agency, meaning that even nationally, she is recognized. Could be Catherine can just say hello, could be just highlights of what we expect. She will be doing her presentation on Friday. Catherine, I know I've ambushed you, but you can just come and say hello briefly here. And then we will start our other presentations.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As you heard, my name is Catherine Wanchoya. You can hear me? I wish it was very loud. I'm the founder and CEO of Silmark Agencies. Silmark Agencies is a company in Kenya which is many years old, doing many things. But what I can talk about this is, this came up, I would say, by accident. We never planned to do this. There's a team which came to Nairobi from Meru to come and see what we're doing. And they can attest to that. How did we get there? Or how did I get there? Actually, I got to these products because I wanted to give back to my community. I grew up in Makueni. I don't know whether there's anyone here from Makueni. A very remote area. And when I was growing up, I never had the opportunity of using a sanitary pad. And I remember in class, one time I used to sit somewhere in the front, and those days when our teacher asks a question, for you to answer, you have to stand up. So I stood up to answer a question, and everyone behind me laughed. I never noticed then that got into me until over 30, 40 years is when, after my children grew out of the house and they went out, and then my husband started talking about me, I'm going to retire. Then I remembered and said, hey, before I retire, there's one more thing I want to do. Because I said, God gave me 3 children, only got one girl. And my girl, by then she was doing Kenya School of Law, finishing. I said, this girl has succeeded because she got all she needed as she was growing up. What about the lady I sat next to in class in my village? Where is she? Where are her children? Then I said, there's one thing I want to do. So I just wanted actually to go and donate sanitary pads to the school, that remote school which I went. So I went, donated sanitary pads. Now when I talk about this, what did I talk about on Friday?
No, just highlights.
So after donating those sanitary pads, of course I came back and I asked myself, how am I going to sustain that? Now that is now where it all started. Because in my village, one thing I found out, they don't even have sanitary pads in the shops. Because there are no customers. They use the same things I was using those days. Pieces of cloth. Actually in high school is when I used cotton wool. I got to use the first sanitary pad when I was working. So when I went, I saw there were, of course there was no access to sanitary pads. That's when I started now researching. how can I really help them even to access that sanitary pad? Because I was like, I can be buying them and then give them at a lower price when they maybe dispense them and they get something to help themselves. So that's how we came about with the first product. Our first product was this one. This is a sanitary pad dispenser, which uses coins. It's manual, because of course there is no electricity. There was no electricity by then. So the idea was, I give them the sanitary pads, I had bought them and they knew I could afford to buy them, at least get them to them by about 7 shillings, and they could dispense with 10 shillings. So I went, now we had to come up with this product. I'm not an engineer by profession. My first degree was entrepreneurship. Then I did strategic management. So of course there is no, but I was as an entrepreneur. This company called Silmark, and this is over 30 years old, but doing different things. We are dealing with NGOs supplying relief in Sudan and Somalia over the years. Actually, we did quite a bit after the post-election violence with the IOM, International Organization for Migration, and other NGOs. So for me, this was something new. So where we live, we have a fellowship. The people who go to our church, those fellowships we talk about. I knew one of the ladies I go to church with had a son who had been to a TVET school and done some engineering. So I called this guy and I give him my crazy idea. And that is how we came with the first product, which was not as beautiful as this. You saw it, isn't it?
Yes. I wish they can see the journey.
The journey is a long one. So that's when we did that one. Then later, because we just got some sheets and fabricated. Of course, it's very heavy, you can't lift it. It's not very nice looking. So we were told that we could get some people who could do the enclosure for us. Because the system actually worked with that one. The concept worked. So when we did the enclosure and we went, when I just carried this particular product also, we went and now around the same time, we found out that also what about, there's also a problem of disposal. So me and the same guy, we came up with the incinerator. Now, with the two products, by then of course I was using my funds, maybe from my other business. Then there happened to be a competition, just like what you're doing, by UNFPA, NILAP, and Global Fund for Women and Grasa Machel. I'm sure you know all those. In 2013. So I just applied for that, and then we went, we were shortlisted, we were about 64, we were left 10, we pitched 3, each one of us got 1 million. Of course, with that I was able now to now go test my product with other people. I got this product from Nairobi University, they took for their PhD students. Then we started going to the market, public toilets and such. But before I spoke about this, before I went for the innovation competition, I patented this and I patented that. That is very important. Before we talk about your idea, protect it. I'll sit here and listen to your ideas. If I want to create something close to that, maybe I will feel that I have the muscle to do that. What will happen to you? So it's very important, if you can, protect your idea, even before you test it properly. If you're not going to protect it, don't talk about it, because that can be dangerous. So we protected, we went, I remember there's one time I went to pitch this dispenser where we had the first ladies of the counties. So they usually have a menstrual program. When I pitched, they looked at my dispenser, they told me, having this dispenser is very good. But this dispenser cannot help us. The problem we have, when we give the sanitary pads to the girls, to the schools, they get stolen. So we need something which will help us track. And around the same time, this law, which was this bill, which is it a bill or whatever, which was signed by the president, saying that every school-going child will get a free sanitary pad, and there should be a means of disposing of the same. So there's actually a lot of that effect. So when we realized there was a lot of that effect, we really worked on this. So we thought we will get in the government system such that they can track there. That's now when we innovated this. This one is an accountability dispenser, where we go and give each student a unique bill to dispense the sanitary pads. And what we do with the donor, if you are the donor, if Meru University is the donor, they will tell us, I want the girls to be getting their sanitary pads at the beginning of the semester, or once every month. So we keep in that information. Then we come and give each one of you, and so all you need at the beginning of the month, you go and key in the code for the school, then you appeal, and then the machine just dispenses. These ones we are going to demonstrate. So how they work. That one uses electricity. So for us, that one we did in 2019, and it came through when we were challenged because of this. So we went and did that product. From 2019, it has been lying in our office. We have not been able to do anything about it. But right now we have some hope. This dispenser, I went to Safaricom to pitch this dispenser in 2019. Then they take care of their women. There's a policy in the company that they even have a welfare which takes care of the women. So that I managed to land to that lady who does that. So she told me we are going to buy, she even told me we are going to buy like 6 of them. She showed me where they are going to place them and everything. But after a month or so, she called back and told me, no, we have gone digital. We want a digital dispenser. Can I give you 2 months to come up with a digital dispenser which uses M-Pesa? I told that lady, that is not practical. We are not able to do that. So from 2019, we worked on a dispenser, because of course that one uses the last one there, uses a software. We've been working on that particular product from 2019. We only managed to launch that product with Safaricom this year in May, during menstrual day. And we already have a deal with them. They are taking the first month. We are co-branding with them. They're the ones who are doing all the branding. And then they're going to do the piloting in all their places. And apart from that, they're also going to take this one to the Safaricom M-Pesa Foundation for the school, the one for accountability. So you see now, with that partnership, we have managed to get a product which was lying, which is going to go to the market. At least we'll do the piloting with them. Maybe somebody else will see it and they will get the interest. When Equity saw that Safaricom was interested in us, right now we are working with Equity. They want us to do one which uses cards. So you see, partnerships are very important. And networks, just like he has said, networks are very important. And just to help you actually even take this one even deeper, he has talked about failing. I've failed more times than I have succeeded in any of these. Even when I was doing the other business, the first business I did, I failed. Because I started very early, when I was 24. That one I failed and I gave up. But later, I took it up again. I failed a second time, several times before you succeed. So what is an entrepreneur? Is that one who will try and you fail, you dust yourself, you wake up. Even when you fail, they are expensive. Maybe you spend a lot of money doing that product. You come and pitch here, you fail. You don't give up. You have to go and try and do it again. Maybe you do it in another way. Because you learn from what the failure maybe you failed because maybe you didn't do enough research. Maybe this product was not working well. So you go back, start there, then you're able to move on. Okay? I think that is all I can share for now. Any questions?
So thank you very much, Catherine. Any questions from the audience? Anything you want to Catherine to clarify? So silence again means that the message has sunk. So this is what we want, this whole innovation center and the university to be continuously engaging in with seasoned innovators and also seasoned entrepreneurs and angel investors. And that is the whole idea behind this innovation week. The product itself, we want to start serious incubation of most of the ideas that are there. We want to assure you that the prototypes that are ready, we want to put them up here and be able to engage the bigger audience outside here in terms of investors. And even the university, we try and actually get funding to actually refine the prototypes before we take them. Our idea is eventually to commercialize. And if this happens, everybody gains. The innovators, the researchers, the community, and even the university itself. So this is a very important event, and we want you to take it as serious as it is. We see as the days go, the bars go higher. So I ambushed Catherine. She was supposed to present on Friday, but Catherine now is part of us. Just like I've told you, the Kenya National Investment Agency, that is Kenya, has enough trust in the university that they are actually letting us be part of their recipients. That is Catherine and quite a big group they will be coming, where now Kenya has actually incubated them at Meru University. So you see how this hub is taken seriously even by the government. So Catherine and the other recipients, we want them to be part of us so that they can also mentor you. You've had awards. Anything before we bring it outside here, we should start by protecting. Because any good idea, people will jump on it, and eventually you might not be able to benefit. So at this point, could be, I want us to go to the other pitches and Rogers. Could be at this moment now, we can start the presentations. Could be the first presenter.
The first presentation presenters will be Kenneth Nduda Mangi, Bernard Meru, and Wambui Victor. They will be presenting about e-voting system, I believe. Then after the e-voting, we will have instant voting by poll and writing. Meanwhile, those who have not registered, you can register yourself here.
Good morning. We are BCT year 2. I'm Bernard.
I'm Kennedy. I'm Victor Wambui.
We have an on. Our system is about online voting, and this system gives voters the possibility to easily and comfortably fill out and cast out a ballot using their personal computer, smartphone, and actually the idea here is voting virtually, and we can dive it to the functionality. So, a user has to register first of all, and for a registered user, you'll be able to log in using your username and password, like so. And then, if you are an authentic user, you are taken to the home page where you can cast the poll choose the position that you want. Okay, about this system, we decided to mimic the school online the voting activity. Like, we have a school rep, you choose from the one you want to vote and then submit your vote. You can modify your profile, manage your profile, and you can log out from the system. And even if you try to log in again, the cycle continues. At this admin dashboard, an admin will log in with their email and password, and what the admin will do, the admin will manage the fellow admins, manage position available, candidates, and poll result, like so. Okay, the aim of coming up with such a system is that we want to come up with a corporation, like a corporation that manages election. Like, for example, statistics shows in 2017, the government used a whopping 117 million in doing that voting exercise. And if at the time our system was in place, that system could have saved about 50 to 60% of the money that was used. And again, our system is effective and time saving. Like the other day, you saw the NAT doing the election, like they were doing it in person. And if we had this system, just imagine a person coming from Nakuru just come to Bomas of Kenya to vote. You see, that guy has to use there is a transport cost and hospitality, all those things. Our system is capable of reducing such costs. And another thing, our system will reduce paperwork, of course, and it will reduce the staff involved.
Let's applaud them. I believe they have met. Let's applaud them. So we're inviting questions to the presenters. Questions from the congregation. As they are thinking, I have few questions. I'm sorry if you explained, but I never want them. The first thing that I'll be concerned as a user of your system will be about data protection. That most systems, they are being attacked. What measures are being put to mitigate that threat?
Okay, first of all, as a developer, you should never trust a user when entering data. You see, like this, like here, when users are logging in, that data they are putting, you can find a user who is talented. They can just do cross-site scripting. And to do that, of course, when a user tries to do like XSS with Google, that one might never happen. But using other browsers, there is a way that we have binded our variables, if I may say that. Whatever the user is entering, it should be valid. Like there is a way, there is a firm way that we have done with our variables to capture that. So there is nothing like XSS or whatever that can be done to our system.
Another question is, if you're going to trust what are you saying to enter, then politicians will go manipulate the population and the census guide and create many IDs. And a lot of the IDs, they will enter those details into your system and they'll do what? And they will get access and have more votes to their advantage. So I'm asking, like, is there another alternative way, like let's say the fingerprint, because you know that fingerprints are unique to individuals, or just like for somebody to enter?
So what our system is doing here, it is collecting data from the database, such that when you register, for example, the IBC, we come with our system, we integrate our system into a database, we combine them, such that when the user is logging in, it is collecting data from the database. And on security, that the user may be, if you have a smartphone, it will have a mechanism that maybe when you are logging in, you should use your username, password, and maybe for verification, the print.
Yeah, and to add on that, when a user is logging in, when you enter your username and password, when they match, you are given like 30 seconds to verify if it's you. Like, for example, if you are having a smartphone or a laptop, you will be sent an email. Of course, there are those who will be using Kayo's phone. You'll be sent a code and a link. Like, you verify that code, it's really you, before you gain access to the home page, so that you can do all that stuff.
Okay. Maybe one final question before I ask this question. We know that the reason why we come up with ideas is to gain at the end of the day and maybe solve a problem. Actually, it's solving a problem and we gain. I did not get clearly how you intend to gain from your idea.
Oh, this is what we said. Like, take a look at election 2017. The government used, our aim is not just to build an online system where our school will be voting online. We intend to make this one big. Like, for example, if in that 2017, we were the guys who are conducting the election, just imagine being given $117 million. You see, we said like, we are saving the money and in turn gaining money. Like, for example, this system could have saved about 7 billion. Out of that money, it could have saved 7 billion. And converting that to 117 million, that's 12 billion also. It could have saved 7, and then the rest, we get it as a token of appreciation.
Can I challenge you?
Okay.
Imagine 10 million people each buying 10 MBs. 10 million people each buying 10 MBs for that day is at least. Actually, 10 MBs for like a smartphone cannot be not even to vote for one person. So can you imagine like 10 million people are buying 10 MBs at let's say 5 shillings, you see, and from that at the end of the day you find that you are spending almost the same as what you're trying to do what? To save. So it's a good idea. However, think of how you will synchronize it to be more secure more applicable. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. Do you have a prototype with you, or
Yeah.
it is still right there?
We have a product.
We got it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it protected, like patented or copyrighted?
Yeah, it's protected.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Then your system is basically online.
Yeah.
How are you going to take care of my grandma back at home using those other phones?
Okay. We have put in place OTP. Like maybe in any SIM card, they can dial just a simple code and vote. First, verify if they are, for those guys using Kaya's phone, they dial the OTP code, they verify if they are registered or they are authentic users, and then they gain access to it.
Who are your customers?
Of course, it everywhere done
In institutions,
Okay, who is the user of your system?
everyone who have, maybe, for example, if we take a case study here in Meru University, our users are the student. Maybe in organization where they held the election, our users are the employee. So basically, it's like everywhere there is an election and you are eligible to vote.
Okay. So why do I need your system? And how will you gain from me after I have acquired your system or your app?
Number one, you know you say in Kenya most people are hard to mouth. So there is when you get our system, instead of you the whole day lining up in a line just to cast your vote, you can just vote at the comfort of your maybe working place anytime.
Okay. And how will you gain from it?
Of course, the system is not free. Like we said, we intend to out of this, we don't just intend to make a just system and just give it out. We are a corporation, and you have to hire somebody to get the service. Like our service is like manage your election. Like take a look at our school. We usually waste a whole day just going there, voting. A whole day it's wasting all that time. So, and this is a school of science and technology. Why don't we have a system where like education is still going on and you can still vote? You get?
Okay, thank you.
Maybe some two more questions.
Okay.
What backup do you have for your system? Let's say on the material day, there's a blackout. There's a blackout in most parts of the country, as it happens sometimes. And sometimes, we know our phones can only last, let's say, for 24 hours, and the charge dies. How? What mechanism have you put in place to act as a backup?
So maybe we can say that maybe for it's online, so the moment maybe there is a backup, with online you don't need that the paperwork maybe to go for. So we can put a mechanism that it can last maybe for a day or maybe plus you can't last your day, even for sure. I know that you can't last a day without, maybe if your phone is dead and you want to accomplish something, you do that before it is switched off.
And again, to add on that, in that database, maybe let's say we had the voting exercise was like it was scheduled at 7, and then it was like we scheduled it to last for 7 hours, and then at 10 it failed. So like everything went offline. You see, people can't vote. We have put like there is a graph that will show that, and again at the database we've recorded somewhere like so and so had voted this time. So even if that person goes again and he had voted in the morning thinking that they can vote again, they can never do that. Like there is a mechanism. I hope you can understand what I'm trying.
There is another question. So basically, if somebody doesn't have a phone, they will not vote.
Yeah.
Plus, we are we are in a technology world now. Everything is technology. Nowadays phone are very cheap. You can afford a phone even with allowed 1,000. So everyone, we are in a technology world now. Everyone want to be updated. So even maybe in basis of percentage, maybe it's a very few percentage that doesn't have. Plus, when it is physical, not everyone that participate.
Yes.
Before I ask my final question, let Madam ask a question.
Thank you, guys. I think your process of thinking is good. However, there are a few things you need to clarify and also give solutions. As in, you want to bridge the gap in voting system. Like friends and colleagues have alluded, is that when it comes to voting, majority of people will not have phones, especially in the rural areas. People share phones. Don't live like you live in America. We are in Kenya. We come from the villages, and we know one phone in the village is used by 5,000. So what you should be bringing in your hub is a scenario whereby at least the database is able to recognize some unique codes or some unique numbers, just that people can vote even using one phone, but they're different individuals. That's one item. Then the capacity of your hub. How many people can it accommodate at a given time? Because now you want to upscale it or escalate it to the bigger population. We are talking of Meru University, maybe the summer elections, right? Now, let's go to county elections. Let's go to national elections. Because that's the big picture you should be seeing in terms of your application. So, do you have those things in place or in your database?
Okay, to start with the first issue. You have said when you are logging in, you will be required to enter your details. So, and after that, you will be given a code in which you are going to verify that it's you who is voting. So, even if someone comes and he doesn't have a phone, he'll just log in. He'll just follow the process. So he'll be given another code just for himself, because in Kenya everybody has an ID, different ID numbers. So if you are using, for example, use the ID numbers. When you enter your ID number, it is not related to your phone. So that person will vote, because it is not the phone which is voting. It is you are given a session personally. You are given a session where you vote. So for those who do not have phones, there is no way that you can say in a whole village. You cannot say that you are able, even if you don't have a phone, your friend has a phone, you can go there and vote. Okay, to come to Meru now, our case study, we are saying, okay, first of all, we wanted to implement it in technological institutions like Meru here. Now, if you implement it here, everybody, and if your phone has failed, you can come here. That's why we have the whatever, the labs and whatever. You can go there and vote. They can allow you. And to add on about backup, most institutions have a backup generators and whatever. Our institution has a generator whereby when power fails, there's always like 5 minutes, then the generator is up. So if your phone is not charged, you can charge it. Vote.
There's a question.
Okay, you said that your system can be used by students, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a student and I have an account in the system. What criteria are you using to ensure that my data is secure, my information is secure?
So what is the, so that's why we are saying that we are taking, so maybe Meru University hires for, takes our system for an election. We don't come with database. We integrate our system with their database. So it will collect information from the database. And the information you have already, the information they have is the same, maybe username, you will use the same username and password to log in, to voting.
Okay, so you fetch data from the school database?
Yeah.
One final question. Share a question.
Mine is more of a compliment. You bring a good, I like the idea. And it's right for this time of COVID.
Yeah.
You know, like when during this period, not many people would want to go and queue to vote. Many will shy off. So what I would want you to do, like when you're starting, I don't know what your first line is. What is your first line? Your first slide.
Is highlighting what we have talked about, the content.
It's about the content.
Yeah.
Supposing you started with a problem. That way you capture people. This is a problem we are solving. Like we are giving the electoral commission an alternative. It can be an alternative to what they already have, such that as a voter, I can decide to be online, to do online voting or go and queue. And that way, once you know the problem, you also need to find out, is this problem big enough to make money from it? Because all you're after is making money for the organization. So you have to be clear who your customer is at the beginning. Who is my customer? Will this customer be able to pay me? Supposing you say your customer is electoral commission. Those are the ones who are, because you have to integrate your data, your system, your software with the data. So that should be your customer. That is my thinking. I could be wrong. That should be your customer.
Yeah.
So will you sell that to them, to the electoral commission, for you to make money? Or will it be me as a user? You need to sell it to me. So in short, be very clear about who the customer is. So you do the problem, then you do the solution. What is it you want? Then who are my customers? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Let it flow. It will be easier for people to follow.
Yeah.
Because now we have to listen to all of it for us now to be able to ask the questions we ask.
Oh, yeah.
And that way you'll have less questions. Okay?
Thank you.
Guys, it's good.
Thank
I
you.
like it.
One final question. As somebody who has participated in the elections in 2017,
Yeah.
like I was paid to officiate elections. With your system, it means that I'll be losing my income. How have you taken care of actual and main teachers gain in that exercise? So how do you take care of that?
Okay, first of all, you see even that the revenue you are getting is season.
It
will
is
not
just
be
for one
there.
day.
It's just for one day. And anyway, we are oriented like, okay, assuming you had a company and you are paying like 100 employees, and let's say that maybe for 1 year you pay more money than you get. What do? You develop a system to at least slash the number of employees, and like let's say the clash your work. If you develop a system to just do the clash your work and slash the number of employees. Okay, the main system here is to reduce our system will reduce the staff work, and out of that our system will be saving a good number of bucks in return, and in return it will be making some good amount. I hope you get what I mean.
Another question?
Mine is not much a question, but I like your idea with it. It's good. And maybe I can say to something I have maybe to add on that is you can think of it like this, not completely eliminating the current voting system at once.
Yeah.
It's that is surely is something so big to do at once.
Yeah.
But if you think of your system in a way that it will integrate the two, such that if you vote online, you can't vote physically, and then from that point, the idea, see, progressively you can go shifting from one form of voting to the other, because actually we cannot escape the reality, because reality beats us many times. So we need to go with the reality as well. Many people may not like the idea at first, which is always okay, even if they don't like it. But what if there are those people who like doing things online? Like we are educated, we have seen things, and we like to do things even from the comfort of our homes. So basically, you can be sure there are people who like your system. They don't need to go and queue at the chief station or maybe somewhere else to vote. So they will vote from their homes, and the moment you vote from your home, there's an update everywhere that so and so voted. So even if you go physically, you can't vote again. Like it's just like so. Think of it like integrating the two, so that you go shifting from one to the other.
Okay, and to add on that, our software engineering teacher taught us that will come under software testing. Like you can decide, like for example what you are saying, we can decide to do the parallel way. Like you don't just eliminate it, we do it parallel way, like we use the two. Okay, that one is.
Yeah, that would accommodate everyone,
yeah,
including somebody who doesn't know how to vote with a smartphone or doesn't have it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That one is good.
There's a question here.
Not a question really, but I just want to, maybe it's a piece of advice. It's a good idea, but now you are targeting the institution, but maybe in one way or the other you will be in need of expanding the idea. So now you are going to, let me say you are going to fetch the data from the school database. But now, we're going now outside. Where will you get the data of registered voters? And how are you going to now again register those who will be able to vote during the voting season? Because now it will be easy for you to fetch data from the school database when the system will be accepted. Now you are going outside. Now the national elections. We have counties. How will you get the data of everybody who is, number one, is a registered citizen, maybe by birth or by registration, who are maybe they are able to vote? How will you obtain that data? And how will you keep that data? Because here also we have data security. I can't be able to give you my information when I'm very sure it's not secure. So how will you obtain that in that broader way? Here you are going to obtain it from the school data, of which I don't also think it will be that much possible, because there will be those who are in the system, and maybe they've just written the deferment letter approved, but they are still in the system. And now you've placed them into your system to vote. They will be able to vote from where they are, but in the real sense, they are not within the institution.
Is it a question?
It's not a question.
Oh, yeah. I was to answer you, but
And there was a concern here.
yeah.
Now, what do you expect from investor, innovator, us?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm seeing the fees for developers.
Oh, those are the requirements. First of all, our machines are out of service.
We really struggled.
Yes, if we can get a domain and a server and some petty estimates like internet and
Does it mean that if I pay all that, the system will be mine? You don't even pay the developers fee?
no, that
Yeah,
that was
Okay, go think about it.
Let's applaud them. Next on stage is instant parking. Next after instant parking is opaque VR, and directly on copy the work.
So that the process is
And while they are setting up the system, those who have not registered, please, and when you find it, you to register, like all the members in innovation.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Okay, we are here as Steve Mr. Park. My name is Paul Roger.
You can move the mask.
My name is Paul Roger, and he is my co-founder.
And my name is Irene Wambui, and I'll start. So for those of you who are car owners, or for event organizers, or if you are someone who owns a piece of land, and probably you have been to town. Let me start with car owners. You have been to town and you've had a hard time getting a space to park your car. Probably because there is no system where you can, book a slot before you get to town. Or for an event organizer, you might be having an event, and a good example is when you have graduation ceremonies here in school. And the parking slots are, it's just chaos because there are no specific places that have been set to park the cars. So someone who comes as a guest, or for instance your parents, they may have a hard time getting to identify a slot where they can park their car. So basically, our project comes in for such situation. The name is InstaPark or Instant Parking. So the problem that we are aiming to solve is to ensure that in the transport sector, we are making it easier for people to book slots, to book parking slots when they are at the comfort of their homes or before they get to town, some few minutes before they get to town. And there are a few problems, of course, that we'll be looking into in details, and one of them is insecurity in parking. In Kenya, we call them kanjo. When you park your car in town and you find one of your screens is broken or there's just something that's not right. So our project is focusing on private parking areas whereby security will be ensured. So everyone who wants to use our application will need to verify that the security at their parking slot is guaranteed for the customers.
Okay, our next problem is wastage of resources. That is time and fuel. You have ever found yourself, if you have a car, whereby you want to rush to a meeting, maybe in town, then you need to book for a parking. And then you go there, you start searching for parking, and then you waste fuel and time. And in some scenarios, you find yourself even missing the meeting because you didn't find the parking and wasted a lot of time. So the time for the meeting has already passed.
Okay. The other issue is parking owners encounter a problem while managing their parkings, where there are people who have spaces that are specific for parking. But I have also not seen an application where they are able to make it easier to manage people getting in or people getting out. So our application will give you exactly that, and we'll show you how the app works later. Let's continue.
Another problem is avoiding unreliable payment methods. This is whereby you find yourself in a situation that you are having a kanjo there. They want to take money out of you, and then they tell you maybe don't pay through the set standard by the government, and you pay them cash. So by that, if that officer goes away and then another person comes, they won't have a method of verifying that you have paid for the parking, and your car will be locked until you get there.
Sure. So still in the issue of costs and getting to pay, the solution we are offering is having reliable paying methods. So people will be able to pay through M-Pesa, and as they make payments, you get a QR code where the person in charge will just get to scan the code and they know you have already made payments. The other thing is reduce the resources used to search for parking. So our application will also give you directions. If the parking is in Meru near Madai Market, you'll be directed right to where the parking slot is. That is very efficient if you ask me.
Yeah, for sure. Another issue is that we assure you security. This comes whereby we have officers. We are dealing with for starters, we are dealing with private parkings, whereby we have officers there who monitor even your car, even when you are leaving, and then when you're coming back, and you will find your car the way you left it.
Then a convenient communication channel between the car owner and the parking slot, the people who are in charge of the parking slot. So I already told you that once you enter your details, the people get notified someone has already booked for a slot. So while you're at the comfort of your house, you know that your slot is already booked. You get to give the timing when you want to preserve the slot. So if your meeting is at 8 and you know by 7:55 you'll be in town, you'll already find that the booking slot has already been reserved for you. So it reduces the process of searching for space, going around town, wasting your time, and maybe you get late for the meeting. So, yeah.
The other solution that we provide to you is we provide you with the shortest route to that place. whereby we give you the directions on how you maneuver through it. You have ever used maybe probably Google Maps. They are so accurate, right?
Yeah.
We have incorporated them into our application, whereby we give you the direction, the shortest route possible, and even the duration. We estimate even if there will be traffic in that road, and then we give you another route to get there.
So another question is, how will you get to our customers? We have 3 different strategies that we will use to get to our customers. One is advertising. Right now, I see most companies get online in social pages such as Instagram or Facebook, and they get to advertise their product. So we plan to advertise our product. We also plan to use word of mouth, sharing with your friends. And once they find out that the services are good, they'll also share with their friends, and you continue spreading the word. And the other one is partnerships.
Yeah, so in these partnerships, this is whereby we partner with parking owners. These people are people that have been in the industry for quite a while, right? So these people have their own customers, and then they will share the information with their customers, and then by that we'll earn customers in the end. So you might be asking yourself, who are our competitors? So the current implemented system is using a USSD code. This is whereby you type in your phone, maybe for example, you use *100# to get for help from maybe our service provider. So the current system that is there, you use the USSD code. The current system doesn't show you the parking slots and how they are laid down.
The current system does not give you directions. The USSD, of course, you can use USSD in Kabambes. You know Kabambes? Yeah, but with our system, you're able to get directions. You are able to enter details of what time you'll be arriving, what time you want to depart. So you make payments for that specific time. And finally, it offers the user a good user interface. It's easy to interact with. And of course, there's something that the other systems can do that we can't. That's accommodate people without smartphones. So for someone to use the application that you have created, they'll have to use a smartphone.
Yeah, our other competitor is the one-on-one booking, whereby you go to the parking and then you book for that parking and then you put your car there. Yeah, so this current system, you can't reserve parkings, right? Because you have to get there physically and then find the parking that you want, and then you book it. So the other one,
it's also hard to offer notification to the clients because you're, many kilometers apart. So how will you notify them you're going if you do not have an application that sends the signal to them? And finally, there's the real-time updates.
It doesn't offer real-time updates. When we are using our application is real-time, right? The officer that's there has the application there, and when you book here, the notification will be sent to them. So it's real-time. Yeah.
Okay, so on that competitor one-on-one booking, well, they offer direct interaction. So with us, the interaction is not so much direct, until you get to the space. So we can say they have that which we don't have. But as you can see, our advantages are way more than we are at a better competitive advantage as compared to them. So we move on to our business model. So we have target customers, and I started by explaining that, and I gave you some examples. Car owners, for those of us who have cars, so you will be our customers. We also have parking slots owners and event managers in cases where they are handling a large number of people and they need to manage how these people will get to park their cars safely, and things like when to leave, when to arrive. Yes.
So at the development of any product, you will ask yourself a question: how will we make money out of it? So this is how we as Instapark will be making money out of this. So the first one is through transactions. This whereby we'll, if you're being charged, for instance, maybe let's say 50 shillings, we cut 5 shillings, which is deposited into account, and then the rest goes to the parking owner, because this is a partnership, right? And the other one is through monthly subscription. This is whereby you, maybe you go to work, right? And you want that parking to be always yours and to be always available to you. So by this, you will pay a monthly subscription whereby we'll cut some cost, and that's how we'll make money as Instapark.
So our unique value proposition, and I'll be fast because we have already discussed this in details throughout the presentation. So our unique value proposition is we indicate the direction to the users, as Paul explained, using Google Maps and such. Then it specifies the arrival time and departure time. We'll show you that through the app. And the charges are made depending on the time you spent. So if you spend an hour, then you're given, like, for each hour you pay 20 bob. So if you spend 3 hours, that's the amount you pay. In cases where you had already said that I will be leaving at around 11, then something happens and you get late, you add the amount depending on the charge rates that they have. So if you extended the time to an hour, 1 more hour, you just have to add the money. So it becomes very easy. Then tight security, as we've said, we'll only be working with parking slots that have assured us that our clients will have secure parking slots, and identifies the specific slots for booking. You see, I have since we started this project, I always make sure that I identify how they divide their slots. You know, like if you go to a hotel, right at the entrance probably, you'll find that they have divided the slots in very unique ways, you know, the parking slots. So the application will get to show if your slot is slot number 1, you will know well at home, so you know where to go directly. And we'll move on. Okay, that's our team, Paul Jaraga and Irene Wamboi. So right now we'll move to the
our prototype.
Yeah, our prototype. So that's our application. Of course, we start by creating an account if you don't have one, but for now we'll just go to the login. Yeah, so now we just log in and we will enter the details and password. So after logging in, as I told you, you get to see the parking slots that you have. So right above we have Makutano, Meru Town and Kubu. Of course, when we start implementing the project, like in real life, we shall add many more parking slots. So this is just a sample, it's a prototype. So for instance, in Makutano, we have slot A01. So the application enables you to identify a space that is empty. So for instance, it clicks this space, you know, it tells him that you can't book there because there's already someone who has already taken the slot. And if you go to an empty slot, just pick any empty slot. You are able to see the dates, you can check in, you can book your check-in time, the check-out time. You specify your car type because there are parking slots that are smaller for some cars, some are way big for some cars. So you specify your type of vehicle, and after you specify and you enter the details of the time you're getting in and the time you'll be leaving, you book for the slot. Yes. So you go ahead to book the slot.
As you can also see, we don't allow people to book a day that has passed. So that's why the calendar has been disabled on the days that we have already passed.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so click book now.
I have it now. And then you see the details of that he has already entered. The start time, the time he'll be leaving, the date, and the amount that he should pay, depending on the time that he'll be spending there. And right on top, we have 20 Kenya shillings per hour. So those are the charge rates. And so the charge rates will be given by the parking slot owners. So there are those who will be charging 20 bob, maybe some 30 bob. So that depends on the slot owners. And then we move on. Sorry about that. So like I told you, you need to verify you paid, right? So they will receive the message, yes, but if there's an issue on probably the person who was in charge is no longer there, you can show your receipt. This is the receipt of whatever details you have entered. So the person in charge will just scan the code and they'll be able to see that you have made payments and everything you have done is right. And you can move on from that. Another something I've left out.
Get the directions.
Yes, you get the directions. You click get directions. And from the Google Maps, you'll be directed to right where the parking slot is located. So you'll need internet for the Google Maps. And I think that's just about it.
So
that's exactly how the application will work.
Yeah. And yeah, so by this we will later incorporate everything, even showing you the directions and all. This is just the prototype.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.
Let's applaud them. Now we invite comments, compliments, and questions. Yes,
I wanted to ask on how are you going to compensate someone like me, whom I booked that I will arrive at the parking slot immediately at 8 a.m. in the morning. Then due to some challenges, I arrived late for, let's say it's like 30 minutes. And then I booked from 8 to 10 a.m. How are you going to compensate that? And maybe there is someone else who had booked immediately after I leave. That is at 10 a.m. had booked the same slot from 10 a.m. How are you going to compensate on that?
So what we do as the Instapark, the first thing we do is that we give you a period whereby before if you had said you leave at 11, we don't allow people to book up to until around 12, right? We only allow people to book if you have said that if you have left the parking. We have officers in the parking slot. And the other thing about the compensation if you arrived late, you see that we can't. Don't think we can compensate you because you have already reserved the parking, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the issue on our end.
Sure.
It's on your end. So and the other thing you have to understand is that we still have to make money out of this, right? Yeah. And it's business, right?
So you mean I can book, then on that day I don't show up, but do I do the payment through the online when I'm booking a slot?
Well, for you to get a slot,
Yeah.
you have to have paid.
Okay,
If
so
you pay
yeah.
and you don't come, you don't show up, then I don't think that can be compensated. Just like you buy something from the supermarket,
But
and once you have bought it, you can't take it back and say, no purpose.
But you see, from the supermarket, it's something tangible, and now here the service you are offering me,
Yeah.
and maybe due to some circumstances, I did not manage to make it by then.
Okay, I think, with time, it's a company, so some of these things you can agree as you progress with the with the invention. Yes, but I get what you're saying. Of course, you have to cater for your clients. So if there is something that does not fit, okay, if you had other plans and then something happens, of course you can compensate that. But in such a case, I think we'd need to communicate earlier. We text you and ask, are you still coming? Because if you're not coming, then we can have the space for someone else.
But you see, now you have to make your system to incorporate us, we as Kenyans.
Yes.
and you know about
On
our
the
time.
budget and time.
So many things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So just it's a nice system to me, and I think if you can accommodate and incorporate every stakeholder, it will be good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a question from Ayuma.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. I think it is right on time. I've been using Javopay, and I can give a testimony that if US is well programmed, it will be the best. Because what is happening with Javopay, you can pay the price, and you don't compensate anything. You just lose it big. With your system, I think the only challenge I'm seeing, and I hope you are foreseeing it also, is the fact that most of our county governments, the parkings are not labeled, they are not numbered, including Nairobi. The other thing is, of course, the behavior of our system, the country. Our people don't embrace technology very quickly. So you need to do a lot of sensitization to the county governments and the other partners. Because these are the biggest consumers in terms of your application, or they will be. So you really need to sensitize them that this system works in terms of reducing even idlers, because there are guys who just park their vehicle, like me when I'm traveling to Nairobi and I don't want to go with my car, I just park it at Sajen and pay every day. 50 bob, you get?
Yeah.
So when you bring these timings, I think also to reduce idling and they can increase revenue. That is one of justification for the county government and other partners.
Yeah.
They can increase revenue for that same parking slot to earn more income for the county government and of course for your application. Otherwise, the thing is well thought, the app is well thought, and I think with just slight effort, you can take it to the next level. But think of working with government, because that's where money is. Private parkings is not an thing in Kenya, and especially in our country, cities. Because you are speaking like you're in Nairobi, to Rivers or Jaya Center. That one, they might not embrace you a lot. But county government will give solutions and be able to sell them to the county executive committee members or the CEC. They can buy the idea, and Javopay is giving them a challenge. I can tell you that for real. Javopay is giving them a hard time. Because you can pay and there's no parking. Actually, most of the time you pay and there's no parking. I remember one day in Vika, I paid and there was nowhere to park my car. So I had to sit there until there was a small details. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There was a question from Manason.
I think my question basically was the same as Ezra's question. Because could be I've booked for a slot, and therefore meeting took long than I expected, maybe around an hour late. And somebody has booked the same slot after an hour, which you basically say, and I forgot to rebook again. What will happen in that situation? Because to me, I know my car is safe, but because of the meeting, I forgot to rebook, and I've taken much time again. So in that situation, what will you do?
So
because I booked between, for example, between 11 and 12. My meeting extended to 1. Somebody booked the same slot because we are very sure that by 12 I'm out of the parking. Somebody booked the same slot from 12 to 1. What will you do in the same situation?
So we said our system is real time, right? So in the first, if you have booked up to 11, right? And you are late to come and pick your car. So after 5 minutes, we'll give you a notification into your application, because you registered through your application, right? So you'll get a notification whereby if you want to extend the parking, so we'll give you 3 notifications. each after every 5 minutes. So in the first 15 minutes is a sort of like a grace period. Probably we notify you at 11:05 and then 11:10 and then 11:15. If by that you won't answer to us, then we'll still have to count from there, right? For the next 1 hour.
So the system will be booked for me automatically?
Automatically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then
So-
you'll have to add up the amount because you've extended the time.
So and also in the first screen that we showed you, we said we show you the available parking slots. So someone can't book a parking that has already been booked.
And then basically, I've seen it is an Android application. Sure. So I don't know whether you're going to incorporate it now to be as a, because could be I'm interested, but I don't own an Android phone for maybe a particular period of time, and I have a car, and I want to book a slot. What will I do? Will I borrow an Android phone to book?
So
or what will I do?
You have asked a very good question, whereby I'll direct it to our funding. So this is where our funding comes in, right? So we'll be able to hire web developers and backend engineers, whereby we'll build the platform even on our website, whereby you can go and sit on a sidebinder, yeah.
Yes, this is a very good thought of venture, and I like it very much. I only have a couple of questions here. You secured your idea, right? Expanded patented. Mtu asiibe.
No, not yet, but we're in the process.
Please do that. This is a very good idea. And then, what about in the case? I have arrived in town, siku book. Then I just find myself parking in maybe a specific parking, whatever private parking owner. I park there. Will the parking owner book for me so that anybody who is working with that app should not book that slot again? Or I didn't book in the better space for parking in the park.
So that question also goes back to the funding because we need sensors. For the application to know, let me use simple language. For the application to know that space is empty, we need sensors at the parking area itself, like at the parking slot area. So that's the only way we'll identify whether the space is empty or not. So whether someone came in manually, not everyone will use the application. And someone might come to a parking slot and they want to park, but they don't even know about the application. So the sensors come in place right there. And I think that's the most expensive part of project. But again, that's why we need the funding. Because to implement this idea, we'll need some good amount of money to make that efficient. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, it's answered. Then my second question is, how will you assure that this is a true parking owner? Like this app, can I just download it, then register as that I own a parking slots, maybe this number? Or how will you assure that this is not a fraudulent parking owner?
So by that, we'll have to go through the whole process, whereby you come with your documents. You have your parking, right? You have a document verified way of showing that you own this parking, right? So we'll have to go. This is not done online because there are so many scammers online, right? So we'll have to go through the physical way. We have a one-on-one meeting. Then we go and show us the place, and then we'll follow up with the government if you have registered that parking.
And so then maybe give me specific values on your business model. How are you going to pay? How much do you think this will earn? Maybe if you have approximate value.
So,
well, approximately, I think if we are estimating in terms of hourly, hourly time span, then if someone pays 20 shillings, when you have 100 people coming to the same spot, and they all pay 20 shillings, of course there is the share that goes to the parking slot owner, and there's that percentage that comes to you. So, well, I think around 5 bob maybe per every hour if the amount to be paid is 20 shillings. I don't know if you get me. So if the customers, yes?
That is around 25%.
Yeah.
But that issue, it's something that we have to sit down with people from statistics, like our friend there.
Yes.
We do the math, but we have shown you how we'll make revenue, right?
Yeah.
To justify the project, right?
Yeah. And there are also monthly subscriptions. I guess those ones will work very well for us as well. But I think even at an individual level, if we have 500,000 people using our system, that's a lot of money. If we get 5 bob from each person, I think that's a good amount of money.
And also the other thing is that in business, you better target customers on a cheap way than have something so expensive that you target maybe 5 customers to buy it, right?
Sure.
So in our model, in our application, we subsidize that cost, whereby you don't have to pay like our friend said, you pay for 100, maybe 100 in a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you are going to town just for 5 minutes, you see, or maybe for 1 hour, right? So that parking will make for us more money on our side,
True.
and it will cost you less, right,
Less money.
as a customer.
So we attract more customers.
Yeah.
Just to, I was just asking this to know what is it in for an investor, maybe for me and that for me.
For an investor.
We want to bring money to you guys.
Yeah.
Right away, there's money
Yeah.
to develop the application and implement it.
Yeah.
Maybe network with the county government ministers, like I was telling you.
What is your ask? Your ask. How much money
What do you need?
How much money do we need right now?
So the first thing that you have.
No, for the business.
For the business,
yes.
exactly.
Like for you not to be able to do what you've not done.
To actualize the business.
To actualize the business. Are you looking for partners? That is one. Are you looking for investors?
Yes.
Now, for you to do what you want to do, because you know, what, like the census and the rest.
Yeah.
Like the guys who were there, they said their ask was $3,000.
Dollars.
What is your ask?
So
you may have to go sit.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Value yourself and
Yeah.
the idea before you put in the ask. Because already you've done quite a bit.
Yes.
And it's well arranged, it's well articulated. The delivery is very good. You started with a problem, so you captured us.
Yeah.
And it's a problem which is, most of us, the ones who work with vehicles, experience that problem.
Yeah.
So the market is there.
Yes.
And again, your model
Mhm.
is very attractive because you're not only getting money from the owners, the subscription,
Yeah.
which means it's like those are like new products. So if you're not getting from here, you get from there.
Yeah.
So it's a good one.
Okay, thank you.
There's something I want to add to them. Can your application be synchronized with the CCTV cameras? Because that's another approach, in a way that we have towns which have installed CCTVs, and you see that will enhance the monitoring of the security and everything else, and even when it comes to booking. So just think broadly in that direction and then think about the investors, because sometimes rolling out some business plans is not easy. You need partners. Yes. And then of course I can tell you what else you can develop. On the same line.
But if you said, and maybe I didn't get it right, your system is automated.
It is automated, right? So are there going to be people supervising the parking slots? If that's the case, my question was, if a car comes now to the slot that has not, maybe doesn't have someone, because he or she doesn't have the app, what is going to happen? No, the empty slot. The person doesn't have the app. Now the person comes and occupies the slot. So it is going to detect in the application that the slot is occupied. So what is going to happen?
You have answered that question some few minutes ago, where we shall have sensors at the parking area. So in each slot, because not everyone has a phone, not everyone knows about our app. So for those who want to do it the manual way, they'll also be accommodated for. So
they will pay manually.
Yeah, they could pay manually.
No, that's the danger. You see, if people are booked online, and somebody meets an empty slot that gets you, that's why I'm thinking of CCTV. That's why I'm thinking broadly. How can you ensure? Maybe what you can tell this guy, you can reduce the number of people who are supervising the slots, because you can have also another guardian to monitor the function. And that is, I think you are working now with the partnership with the owners. This will not be your business. You are just facilitating the business. So the owners, like the way Jumbo does, they have SSD for checking whether the vehicle is free. Then they don't even talk to you. They meet your car there and they key in the vehicle number and they confirm whether the status of the vehicle, whether it is free or not. So I think you should also...
Let me clear that. So we also have a point of sale, a POS installed in the officer that is monitoring that parking, whereby it will allow you even to book from there.
I think the guys can pass it to the idea. They should very fast. Very fast, otherwise they run away.
Since there's no other question, let's applaud them as they get next is opaque beer. It's like they are going to drink beer in a few minutes. Then after him, I would love the housing project. The housing website project.
You see, there's something I want us to develop for Ministry of Health. You can see you have a nice idea.
destroying our lives. But innovation, it is just a simple fake beer with no chemicals, with no any additives. It's just natural beings. Are we together? And now there are facts. In the food, we have facts. And in beer processing, we have a fact is that opaque based under the law of Kenya, Count 254 of Food Drug Chemical Substances Act Regulation of number 239, opaque beer is made by fermentation of cereal grains, and the final product should contain the mash of the residue grain from which it is derived and will contain only honey. Now, allow me to take you through the whole process from the farmer up to the glass bottle. And the first thing, now the first thing, you have to have the raw materials. The raw materials include the sorghum, millets, honey or sugar, and the yeast, of course. Now what you do, you buy the sorghum from the farmers, you wash and dry by the sunlight. Of course, that is nature. After drying, you roast to improve the taste. Now after roasting this sorghum, you take it to the posho mill, whereby you grind. The normal posho mill we have in towns. Take it to the posho mill, then you grind. Now after grinding, you enter stage of mashing. Mashing is a process whereby you want warm water to that mashed sorghum. Now after adding the warm water, you add sprouted millets. And allow me to explain the meaning of the term sprouted millets. Sprouted millets, you take your millet, you allow it to grow to a diaphragm. Then now you add to the mashed flour. Now, after adding that one, you filter. You have a filtering bench, you filter your product, and after filtering, you ferment. You make a fermenter. And that fermenter, you add honey, yeast, then you can pack. And personally, I have drawn, it's just a single structure, whereby you have the sorghum there, you have the roaster, it is your curry mint, you have the roaster, the proportion meal, then here where you mix the flour together in the malted or the sprouted millets, then this is the bench where you filter. It is just a curry mint like this, upper two you have the colorless synthetic material, and the lower side you have the stainless steel, you filter, then you have a settling tank. This is a settling tank. After the fermenter. In the fermenter, you have the honey, in the fermenter you want the honey together with the yeast, then in the filter there, then you pack. And now, this is my customer problem. This is what I began with. I began to that many consumers consume beer with many chemicals. That's the trend of the system. But the innovation has brought an nutritious and affordable beer. And the opportunity is that beer processing is such a lucrative venture, whereby if you deliver good product to the market will automatically accept you. Now, solution. Now, this innovation, how is it going to help the lives of Kenyans? First and foremost, it's going to offer employment to the youth, that's to boost the living standards, and the government revenue do the sale of this product, contribute the paying of taxes, thus building the nation. Now, this is what we request, this is the innovators ask. We are requesting for financial support in order to authorize the idea, and any guidance on how to improve the financial will be very appreciated. And this is our proposed budget plan, proposed business budget. Now, this is where you have the competitive advantage. As you have a unique product, opponent will be shown at a cheaper price. It is nutritious, it is giving life to the body. You can say that's what I can offer. Any questions?
I have a couple of questions. The first question is, what's your growth plan? Like, if somebody gives you money What's your growth plan?
Okay, that's a very good question. Now, our growth plan, as soon as you have the money, you're seeing the budget. You're seeing the budget. These things I'm going to either you buy them or do them from the local materials. You buy them, you have the rent. You rent a room or a house, then you proceed with the business. You create the business.
Okay, another question is, with that budget, what volume of beer do you intend to produce?
Sorry?
With that budget, the starting budget, I believe that's the bare minimum, the starting budget.
Yes.
What volume do you intend to produce of beer?
Okay. Now the volume will depend on the availability of raw materials and how the customers are going to pick that product. Because I know the business, you can never begin a business today and tomorrow you expect it to pick. You have to go stage by stage, process by process.
I'm not asking about what are you planning to sell, but rather what are you planning to produce, like the amount. Is it 10 liters of beer, 20 liters of beer?
Okay, that will depend on the fermenter. The fermenter, if you buy a fermenter all the, it can accommodate, let's say 10 liters, now you're going to produce a product for the 10 liters.
I'm still not answered. Since like you have a budget there, that budget, you should know the minimum volume that it will cater for at the beginning. So maybe you think about that. Besides the chemicals that you alleged that are in beers, why has the government allowed those chemicals to be present in beers?
Sorry?
Why has the government allowed those chemicals that you are alleging to be available in beers to be there, not to be present?
Okay, now in our innovation, we have come up with just as it should be organic products, no additives. No additives. It should be just organic. But when you're not going the chemical way, but you're going the other the natural way.
But do you think a beer taker or an alcoholic will consider an organic product? Because whatever that makes them high is, I believe, is the inorganic content in the beer.
I won't think about that.
One other question.
Yes, my friend. Now, this is good. I think your innovation should take the direction of demystifying alcohol preparation in villages where it is very rampant. I thought you could say you are going to sell this idea or this innovation to the local brewers. You should not think of doing it for yourself. Okay? Like in the villages, I know this happens. Like yesterday, I was listening to the news and guys are making tanks, underground tanks, cover them and pump the fermented into the distiller and all that. So I want you to demystify this so that at least the local brewers can buy your technology, customize it the way these guys have done, and license it so that the government can give you mandate to sell that technology to the community. Because people will take beer whether they like it or not. I think that's the thing. People will take beer whether they like it or not. Or they will brew beer, whether with license or without what? License. So you should think of coming up with an idea whereby you are going to support the local brewers and they be licensed to brew alcohol which is healthy and friendly to the community. And it will reduce cases of poisoning, because the problem is like poisoning, which occurs. Somebody is alluding that the beers don't contain chemicals. My friend, they are putting even the mortuary drugs. So the problem is that people are consuming a lot of poorly prepared beer or alcohol in the community, and that is the problem. If you are addressing that problem, maybe even the government can listen to you. But if you are saying you just want to brew and sell, there's no difference between you and the Kiroche. There's no difference between you and other guys. The bit about it, you are saying it will not contain chemicals. Like me, I'm so allergic to sulfites. So if I take in a wine which has sulfites, I get very serious complications. So as he is saying, some alcoholic drinks have a lot of preservatives, and these preservatives are not very nice for body. So think in that direction, fine-tune your idea. Maybe you can sell the idea to the communities and it will work as you think of expounding it for your own benefit. But that's it and done. There's a problem. Alcohol consumption, even including the youth here, it's a problem. They consume everything and they don't care where it comes from. They don't even check the expiry dates, they just drink it. So if you are saying of producing an organic brew, it is nice. And if you can now extend that to the local communities, it will be even better. So that our fathers and our parents don't die as they consume contaminated beer. Thank you.
There was a question here. So let's talk about the marketability of your idea. As of now, we have a lot of beers in the market. That's right. Yeah. So what will make me as a consumer to leave Konyagi and opt for your beer?
Okay, now my beer, the alcohol percentage in beer, it is between 5 to 6%.
What was it?
5 to 6%.
5 to 6.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, it is just very simple. When you go to the supermarket, there are many companies selling, for example, let's say an example of bread. You either have to take Superloaf or take Mafuko. The same case applies to my product. You either have to take my product or other product. It's just your choice.
There's a question there.
Yeah, I didn't want to lose that. You can't just assume we put it in the shelf and someone will pick it. You are entering a market which has giants. Keroche, we have Kenya breweries. And they have the muscle to put you out of business within seconds. So if you go with a product kind of a thing, it will be very hard for you to penetrate that market. Very, very hard. So think about the model. How do you want to make your money? Your business model. What product do you want? Do you have? Since you seem to know what is required, you can get that machinery, like the drying, because you're saying stainless steel, what, and then you get caves to come and give you certification, to give you a certification for your machinery, because they have standards. The country has standards. So long as caves gives you a go-ahead with the products you're using, or rather with the machinery you're using, then you can sell the machinery. And that market is not exploited. They want for Moratina. Because even when our daughters are getting married, our sons are getting married, whether we like it or not, Moratina somehow gets there, even when it is hidden. So it's a market which is there. But how do you enter that market? Because it's very hard for you to enter with a product, look at the machinery. And then again, you're starting by showing us the process. That is your company secret you're giving us. What will make me, because after this I can just sit with you and I take a picture of that process. Not go get that kind of machinery and do it for myself and sell it tomorrow, because I'm sure you've not protected it. So you don't, whatever idea you have, you don't give the process. Give the benefits of the product, not the process. The process, somebody can pick it from you and make money out of it. And actually go and patent it before you think about patenting yourself. So just sit and think about the business model. What do you want to say?
My friend, that is true. I did Meru juice in 2008, And I presented it to Meru Task Force, and by the time I reached Meru, it was already patented.
Yes.
And they're being manufactured now at one of the universities.
Yes.
By one of the colleagues from this region. So it's not a big deal. That's what she's telling me. So those things happen. Even the wine, I did it in 2008. And things happen. So, so that's the idea.
Okay. I have a concern because now you will be a producer. How will you store your product? Because you won't produce 3 bottles, you sell and then you come back, you produce another 2, sell and then you come back. You are going to produce maybe a bag. How will you store it? How will it be safe for consumption after a while? So maybe just a concern.
So I think your question is based on the shelf life of the product. You have gotten a question. Correct?
Yes.
And the shelf life of my product, once it is done, because the fact remains I'm not adding any additives, any preservative. Alcohol by itself is a preservative. It is clear. It's a preservative. Now, from 5-6%, that's in the percent to 6%, it can sell for a duration of 2 weeks before it gets expired. 2 weeks after, it can sell it of 2 weeks.
Okay. I have 1 or 2 questions. One, do you have a prototype of that beer?
No, mine is, I'm
Just an idea.
I'm developing the idea. I'm the cause of developing the idea.
Okay, so that sums up my next question.
Is there another question? Since there's another question, let's applaud him. Next is the housing website project.
From 3 months upwards.
find that they are moving on those places due to jobs emerging on those areas for education. So the first thing they do is locating a house to take a shelter, and they can have difficulties locating it. So with this program that I'm developing, it's called Science. It's the housing website project. Now, people will be able to locate these places easily and be more comfortable, and have in this website they will have landlords or caretakers contact, and they can even have the vacant rooms available. Like you can find you have a plot with 20 houses. Mostly I wouldn't like a plot with many houses, many length or many houses. So I would prefer with less. So considering that, I came up with this project, and also to interact with these landlords and caretakers in the website, and still you can find someone has misdirected you because you have taken the contact from the website. You don't know the trustworthy of this person. So I'll be covering them from misdirections, and still they will have time to communicate with the caretaker to know to know how the plot looks like. So they will have photos and other material or other must-have that will include the program. The landlords will pay a very minimum charge to publicize their property. So as a result, I will be collecting data from the website. Like when charging these landlords a very minimum, so a large group will pay part on that. So I'll be collecting data from, like, in this place I can know the number of houses in this place and the vacant rooms available. The government will have, like, the other day I was surprised to find out that many landlords don't pay tax on these areas. So the government will have a chance to at least to initiate the tax in these areas, because maybe they don't know about the monthly rental income, or they are never, let's say they have never heard about it. So they can initiate that monthly rental income in this area. And then on World Bank estimates of 2017, they say that there is about 2 million accumulating deficit units in Kenya. And I asked myself, why are investors not taking the chance of investing in housing sector? This is because they don't have the information about where to invest. You don't know if this area is suffering from shortage of houses. So in this program, I will be collecting data like that and maybe give that to those who are in need. My competitors are Gigi, buysellrent.com, pigiame.com, property254. But you could find these areas are mostly dealing with hotels, guest rooms, restaurants. They are not focusing on these small growing towns. So I'll be mostly focusing from small growing towns upwards. And my request is to be funded with that amount of money to develop and market the website. Yeah, that's what I have to give.
Let's appreciate this presentation. We invite questions to the presenter. Any questions?
Yes, do you have the website?
No, I'm in the process of developing.
kind an idea. Okay, how are you planning to gain from that website?
Okay, I'll be charging landlords a very minimum amount. Not like if you take a look on the other websites, they are charging a high amount. Confide, it's almost one rental house. Like you have, let's say, about 100 houses. Confide, they are charging around 1,800 per month. So if you charge a little bit, or a very minimum, so that they can all play part and collect the data. Mostly I want the data. So I charge little, I gain from it, and then I collect the data.
So you say that the difference between your website and Gigi is that you are starting from village.
Yeah, alias everywhere.
The mention of the name Gigi, do you know that it was to start from the village?
Yeah, but if you, even in this room, if you ask anyone, if you know about any website, housing website, or ever used it, you can find the majority never ever used any website at all.
My question is, have you developed even a website, being that now this one will be a business website, have you developed even one?
I do practice.
Oh, you're practicing?
Yeah.
Okay.
As an investor, what would make me invest in you?
Invest.
What would make me give you money to move forward with your idea?
Because this program will be like the data collected. I can offer it back to you, so that you can know the areas. Like you can find out that there is very people are seeking houses there at Meltown, but there are very high deficit there. Yeah, so it's a gap that you need to fill.
Another question? Since there's none, let's applaud him as he exits the stage. Next is the hybrid motorcycle by Grace and Caroline. Then after the hybrid motorcycle, we have the MHEalth by Moto.
So good afternoon, everyone. I am Caroline Ongwe Mushemi. I am a student here at Meru University. I take computer technology, and I'm a fourth-year student. May I have
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Grace Wanjiro Kamande, and today we are going to be presenting to you. And welcome to our presentation.
Okay, the title of our project this afternoon is a cost-effective green-powered motorcycle. We have a problem at hand. Actually, there are a couple of them. Number one, we know that most border borders currently run on fuel, right? And as we all know, that the prices of fuel keep shooting. They keep going higher and higher every time. And also, they're also very unstable. The next thing is the danger that fossil fuel pose on our environment. We see that with the fuel emissions currently, there's a lot of air pollution within our environment. Number three, we have so much noise pollution. If our border was to pass here, everyone will hear and everyone will know it is a border passing. So this is because of the engine that is usually used to power this motorcycle, and we are looking for an alternative that will save us that, the noise that is within the border borders currently. The next thing is that most motorcycles are actually endangered currently right now. When we have like a lot of heat from the sun, the scorching heat can actually pose as a threat to the cyclist. Also, when it's raining, these guys sometimes they get rained on. They can also get sick with this problem. So we have a solution. As you can see, we have a product demo with us here. And regarding the problems that I just initially stated, we are having a couple of solutions. Number one, we are eliminating the factor that most motorcycles are using fuel currently. So we are looking at having a green solution. And when I mean green, I mean the natural resource, which is solar energy, right? Solar is available and it's cheap. You don't really have to pay for the sun. Everyone is at liberty of getting the sun. And we'll also reduce emissions. Now that the fuel emissions cause air pollution, when we have green energy, we'll reduce these emissions since there's nothing we are emitting towards the environment. And also, as you can see, we are mounting a solar panel on top of the border. So this will actually, it will act like a shield. Let me call it a shield, lack of a better word. And when it rains, the border user will not be rained on. When it's too hot, the sun will not scorch the border user. Sawa. So we're looking at the opportunity that this project gives us. Okay, not just as the innovators, but also we're looking at, Kenya as a nation. We're looking at also the border operators. How will they benefit from this project? Currently, we have over 100,000 motorcycles currently in the country, and these people are the breadwinners of their family, right? So we're looking at a way of how we'll, reduce the costs of fuel, and since they're using a natural resource, their costs will reduce greatly. And also, Kenya right now has the Big Four agenda, one of it being manufacturing. So we are bringing a new product into the market, and our whole idea is to bring a custom-made motorcycle that will run on purely solar energy, and at times when there's no solar, we can actually implement electricity. Like right now we have the e-bikes, right? They're quite expensive and not everyone can afford them. So we're looking at a way we can implement both solar and electricity in one border, eliminating the factor that we're going to be using fuel. So as I was saying, now that we have the Big Four agenda, the manufacturing, when we bring in the whole idea of a custom-made motorcycle, we'll actually have an added advantage as Kenya, since most youths will be advantaged since they will have more job opportunities created for them as these boda bodas are not being imported. Currently, most motorcycles zinatolewa nje kama zinaletwa Kenya. So right now we are looking at a way of making our own motorcycles. So we have our model with us. As you can see, it has a couple of components. We have the battery, we have a solar panel, a battery, a motor controller, a motor, a wheel, and a throttle. So how it works is we have the sun, which is actually what we are relying on right now. We have a panel. So what the solar panel is just the normal one. It taps the solar energy directly from the sun. And then we have a battery that stores this energy that is gained from the sun. The motor controller is what controls the motion of the wheel. And the throttle is what controls the speed of this wheel. So if the boda user wants to move at a higher or a faster rate, the throttle is what controls the wheel. So I'll leave it at that, and Grace will continue from there.
Hello again. So I'm going to take you through the next parts. When we look at the World Economic Forum's agenda this year, their main agenda was about climate change. So we see that they are trying to reduce the carbon footprint that is being produced by many companies in various countries. So we see that in the very near future, they are going to be taxing very high rates to companies that produce fuel and petroleum products, because they want to reduce the carbon print in the environment. So whatever we are seeing now in the fuel prices, they will continue to rise. And what will happen when these fuel prices continue to rise and the common mwananchi will not be able to afford fuel costs? And when you look at the people in the boda sectors, they are very reliant on fuel. So bringing something that will counteract the cost of the high fuel prices will be a very good innovation. So these are the major competitive advantages that we have over the fuel bikes. So our risk mitigation is, let's say it's a cloudy day, or let's say it's at night and there is no sun. Then what's going to happen then? The solar panel will not charge. So this is where the battery comes in. The battery that we will be going to use in this project will also be able to be charged electrically. So and when it is charged to full capacity, this battery can be able to cover a distance of 70 kilometers. This is our budget. So these are various types of components that we will need in our project, and our budget has come to 98,750 shillings. So our innovators ask is, we are asking for funding to make a prototype that works in full capacity and can be demonstrated. So we know that it will be very hard for people to accept a new technology. So we would want to have something in our hand that we are going to go out there and tell them, this is how a solar bike will look like, and this is how we are going to operate it. Our supervisor is Dr. Dixon Kenyo and Mr. Lalai, and Carol and I are the innovators.
Let's share the we are taking questions from the members. Yes, there's a question behind here.
Okay, I have a question. How is it? How is it possible to maneuver when there's the solar panel, the solar panel up there, the maneuvering of the bikes, the motorcycles on the road, at the road, how is it easy to maneuver?
Okay, the mounting of the solar panel on the bike is not a permanent thing. It's just like a person can choose to either mount it or not mount it, because the battery can be able to store charge. So there are those motorcycles that will not be mounted, and there are those who will not be mounted. So it will depend on the person who will be using the motorcycle on how they would want to customize their bikes.
Okay,
Let me add on what Chris was saying. Okay, looking at the boda sector currently, as in most of the times, even tukienda hapa nje kwa gate, you'll find boda operators seated, right? There's a lot of idle time while waiting for the next customer. So we were like, this time they're seated. Why can't we take advantage of that time? We have that solar panel mounted on the top of the boda, right? So we can tap that solar energy while they wait. When they're not moving, they're actually seated. And that time, they don't use it to do anything. They just wait, sit and wait for the next customer to. So during that time is when they can actually use the solar to their advantage.
Okay, I have to say that, both of you say that this solar panel is going to also help to cover up the person while moving.
Yeah.
Now, and then like you say, it has to be removed.
Sometimes, not all the time, yeah.
Now, what about the covering up? How is it going to be? Because now, if someone has to charge and then sometimes remove it while it's raining, it could be like, leave alone even raining, the sun itself, the scorching sun also, it can be somehow, like you say, it's a threat. So how is it going to be?
Okay, we are looking at the fact that, the fact of maneuvering. Sometimes you find that bodas use they're small and they can maneuver anywhere, even in small, roads and all that. So whenever they're moving like at a normal road or something, they can actually have the solar panel on top, mounted at the top. Whenever they're moving at that, mahali haiwezi pita sasa, is when they can remove it. Yes.
Good presentation, good idea.
Thank you.
What will you be selling? Is it the motorbike? Or is it the technology of solar? What will you go to market with?
The motorbike.
Motorbike itself. As
the full package.
The full package.
Yeah.
But I was thinking in terms of, have you done the costing of like how much will it cost to do that motorbike? And if it's a motorbike you're going to do it here, do you have the capacity to assemble that motorbike?
Yeah. We even have a demo that we have done, and we have a demo that we have done. Yeah, with an actual solar panel and motor and the gear, yeah.
And together with the motorbike?
No, the motorbike is not there.
No, I'm talking in terms of the motorbike, because you're saying you're giving a whole package.
Yeah.
The motorbike with the panel, with the panel system.
Yeah.
If you're going to do the motorbikes here, where will you get the capacity from?
That's where funding comes in. We actually need the funding so that we can actually create a whole prototype. Right now we're just working with the solar, the effectiveness, how it works. What we are delivering is how it works. We have a solar panel, we have a battery, we have a motor, and it's actually moving. So whenever we get the funding is where we can actually bring in like every component of the motorcycle and create the whole product as it is.
And you have that capacity to do the motorbike, or you get people to do that for you? Because that is mechanical, isn't it?
Sure. We
are working together with our supervisor, with an engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking in terms of where you are right now, if you could sell like you talked of the stage where the motorbikes are.
Mm.
You install part there.
Mm.
That is when you've already, can it use the same motorbikes which are running on fuel?
Yeah, we just have to remove the
put something
engine,
additional.
and then we replace it with the motor and the other components that are needed for the solar.
I was thinking if you could work on those ones, it would have been very easy. You take the system
Yeah.
and install, you know, like the petrol stations.
Yeah.
You have one here, you get another one there. So
Yeah.
those guys on motorbikes, as
Mm.
they wait,
Mm.
they charge.
Yeah.
As they wait, they charge. And now it's like you have to wait until you get now your own motorbike and try and sell that motorbike to them.
We can
they
even-
go for the motorbikes because they are not very costly.
Yeah.
So when you bring the motorbike, make sure that it doesn't, the price is not too high such that it will not get market.
Yeah.
I have a concern. Having seen somebody, a mechanical engineer, design a sports car, it took him like a whole year to design a sports car. Actually, he told me that designing even the shocks themselves could take even a month, because you're trying to design something that will withstand certain pressures. And in your budget, I did not see the cost of designing, because I believe before you start producing, you must have a design that that somebody can follow step by step, that this what you are doing, and from there somebody can be assured that it will withstand the quality of all the pressure that will be expected onto it.
Okay, I will answer that with what we have said about the innovation ask. We have stated that whatever we are asking for is for a prototype to be demonstrated. We are not asking for, right now we are not asking to go to the industry. We are asking for funding to continue doing the research and continue building the prototype and improving it. Yeah.
Okay, ladies, you've done good work, but I'm asking, why are you not thinking about translation? Translation of knowledge, this knowledge of solar technology to the existing market, the way she said. Because the direction we are taking, if you look at quick costing of the whole thing, it might not be very sustainable. So as I sit here, I'm thinking of the total number or the total population of motorbikes we have in Kenya, and the cost of converting them into solar based on electrical-based motorcycles. And what you should just think of doing at the university level is developing a fueling station or a charging station, which will be an income-generating activity for the university. And by that, the university will give you money very quickly, because if we calculate the total number of motorcycles which pass through here, we can be the first institution to have a petrol station for charging even vehicles, leave alone the motorcycles, because in the next 5 years, actually, electrical cars will be here. Those of us who have gasolines, we have to dispose them as quickly as possible. So think in that direction of translating that knowledge, those prototypes into a charging unit where we can be charging vehicles, and your model is to open a charging unit at the gate, so that motorcycles can be charged there, and we move on. That's the best idea for now.
Okay.
Because if you look at the cost of coming up with a solar motorcycle, it's not little money. It reaches to almost $480. And that is not little money, and that's just in countries which have full system for that. It's a good way of thinking, but think of also translation now of that knowledge to the market, the existing market.
Then there is a picture you shared with us there of a motorbike with a solar panel. Was that not yours?
That was just a demonstration of how a solar bike would look like if it had a solar panel.
So you are sure these common solar panels won't break in case of ukimount hapo juu, then the shaking of the pikipiki?
It's actually screwed on top. Si ati inaekelewa. Yeah.
Then how long will it take for a single charge? Maybe ukisha charge, plug out the solar panel. How long will that motor take?
So it will depend on the battery. And the battery that we have chosen to use, it takes 70 kilometers to deplete the whole. Oh yeah, okay. When we look at the products that we have chosen to use in the capacity, the description of the battery is it has a capacity of 24 volts. So that's how we calculated the distance. It will be able to come in. Yeah. It will take 4 hours to charge.
4 hours, 70 kilometers. But that's one is the this is 2 kilometers. From the here to here is 2 kilometers.
Yeah.
So 70.
That's around 70 trips.
17. Those guys, they go around how many trips per day? So it's like they can take those guys the whole day here.
But how many days? If he's taking a whole 4 hours. to
No,
charge
that's the
that
problem.
car, how many days per day?
Okay, the way we were navigating that situation of charging is the idle time that is spent when they are waiting for customers. So they can use that time to charge their batteries.
I should want to discourage people. You have to think of speed charging. Eh? Yeah, there are activators which ensure the speed charging. Even these phones, those are charging in 20 minutes or 30 minutes till you're done. So you should think of that.
There's technology actually.
There's technology to
look for it, research.
There's another question here.
Oh, these are concerned. So if you have ever been in an electric car, you know it's very easy to bump on someone who's been using earphones because as Kenyans we are used to listening than checking the road. Like anyone of the riders are kind of reckless and they are too fast. So let's say we have those silent bikes. They are moving all around here so fast. You think that will increase the number of road because you can see like someone is in earphones, they are listening to music, and yet there is a car without a muffler, which is very loud, and they almost being hit by the car. Now let's take a scenario. We have all these bikes moving through and through silence. You Kenyans will survive. But you can maybe, instead of going through electric, you can go to hybrid, where we have the noise, and also we are saving fuel. Yeah, because like we can save on energy and pollution, but you can have maybe reducing the horn, but that will be less pollution maybe. So you can think of hybrid.
Okay.
Another concern? Since it's none, let's appreciate them. Next is Akimoto.
So thank you very much. My name is Alfred Kimodo, and what I have here is what we are calling my nutrition app, and what we are aiming to achieve is the use of mobile technology to collect and disseminate nutrition information for local foods in Kenya. Yes, non-communicable diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and cancer are contributing to around 55% of death in Kenya. And the main risk factors for these diseases is lifestyle and nutrition. To prevent and fight these diseases, there's need to consolidate nutritional and health information of local Kenyan foods and package them easily so that it is easily understandable and the information can be easily consumed by anyone. And we are saying by use of a mobile application, this is one of the most promising ways to do. And sometimes we just eat because we enjoy the taste or the experience. But other times, other than pleasure, we need to get nutrients, we need vitamins, we need minerals from that food we are eating. The proposed app solves the problem of lack of nutrition and health information on the go for local and indigenous foods. We are saying foods like terere, like managu, and so many other local foods. We are not able to actually measure the nutritional, or that information is not readily available. So as you take that food, you don't know what percentage of proteins, what percentage of so on and so you are actually consuming. And having a mobile database improves on the information gathering and thus identifying nutritional gaps early enough and also recommending corrective actions for this. Yes, since nutritional information is collected on local information around the country, it is easier to achieve a more nutritious meal with a mix and match of foods from the various parts of the country. And we are saying geotagging and knowing that this food is mainly produced in a certain place, and the use of my mobile mobile phone, you can be able to tell me around Meru, this and this and this is what is locally available. And this is the nutritional goal of what you'll actually get at the end of the day. We are saying through the laptop program, which was a program by the government, which actually never kicked on very well, we are able to introduce users to computing and mobile technology at a very early stage. So the adoption rate is actually will actually increase with that. And we are also saying that there is currently no other mobile application stroke database in Kenya that collects and actually stores this information about those local foods. Mobile technology is readily available, and its adoption in Kenya and across the globe will ensure a higher adoption rate of the technology. A 2017 study by Pew Research found that around 80% of adults in Kenya reported to having or rather owned a phone. Out of this, we are saying 30% had a smartphone and the other 50% had just a basic phone. This is a 2017 study, and I'm sure by now the numbers have also increased based on the fact that the mobile phone, the cost of owning a mobile phone is reducing day by day. The first application to link nutrition and health information of local foods and lifestyle of a population of a developing country, thus offering the much needed solution. We are saying as a country, we are a developing country, and I think this is the peak time to actually introduce and actually make use of technology to our advantage. being the only mobile application to collect and provide nutritional information on local foods will assist the national and county governments to deal better with food and nutrition related challenges and in their governance areas through analytics. We are saying we are able to collect this information and maybe somewhere we are able to produce more of carbohydrates. It will assist the local government, the county government, to actually plan on maybe and actually see where they can source for other source of nutrients. We are also saying we can embed advertisements on the mobile application as a way of generating income. We'll also have some premium features so that premium members get to enjoy these premium features. We are saying other than just getting that information, the app can create for you a balanced diet based on where you are. I'm in Meru. I know maybe Managu is ready available and something else. It can do a mix and match and give me what I will get very fast at Meru. When I go to another place, the same case applies. And the user data can also be used by medical professionals to advise the user on their nutritional needs and what they require in their body more. Here we have some screenshots from the prototype. It is at the very basic level, but we've done basically the process overflow of how we are able to collect the data, analyze it, and actually group into their respective categories. I have a prototype I will be demonstrating further. Yes, this is a different screen on the same. Yes, and the team, we are 3 of us. Unfortunately, the other members of my team could not be able to join me. We have Professor Aremi, myself, and Esther Morioki. Allow me to now show you, demonstrate rather, on the prototype. So this is version 1 of my nutrition app, where at the top we have a random tip for where we are saying we have a random tip which will now rather engage the user on health tips. Then we also have the different food types. We have like for instance, this is omena and the nutritional composition. We have different food types and we have different classes of nutrients. We have like carbohydrates, and under carbohydrates we are able to see a brief description of that, the benefits, and some of the sources of carbohydrates that have already been fed into the app. Then we also have the food groups, where we have grains, we have tubers, we have legumes, we have so on and so forth. And then we also have a feature which we haven't actually completed, the balanced diet creator, which based on your location, based on the foods that have been fed into the app, you can be able to create a balanced diet and actually achieve a more nutritious meal. Thank you.
Let's appreciate him. Any questions from the members? About the presentation? There is one.
Yeah.
I think you have done a very good presentation. I think it's a very good app. My question is, how will you make money out of it?
We are saying we'll be selling adverts and we'll also have some premium members. Features like what we are saying, the balanced diet creator. That we can say is available to premium users. So you as an ordinary user, you can only see nutritional information, but you get to the creation of a balanced diet or creation of something else that is only available to paid up users, what we are calling the premium users.
So the premium users, do they pay one thing or it's a subscription?
The
customers that are saying they are premium.
It's a subscription, maybe monthly subscription. Yes.
Have you identified them?
The?
Like, would you say like standing there like, I think one customer is like maybe Meru University or a ministry or?
At this point, we haven't identified them, but what we are planning to do is once users start using the application, you've seen with so many other applications, you start using, you get to a certain point, and for you to access some additional features, you need some subscription. You need to log in. You need to pay maybe a monthly subscription fee.
How will you get me to log in? Unless I know the benefit I'll get from your app.
That will do through marketing of the application. Through, sorry?
Marketing to who?
Number one, to the general public, and through we are saying even the government and the county governments have something to leap from this project. If we are able to approach one of maybe for starters, if we are able to approach one of them, we can be able actually to sell up the idea and show the benefits of the application or what we aim to leap from the application. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Actually, for the bold step, my concern are two. In medicine, we talk about malnutrition.
Yes.
And the mostly affected people are the elderly, the sick, and the children, the under fives. So in your last rubric, I saw you said you will be advising. The hub will be able to advise the clinicians, the physicians. They can advise on nutritional issues.
What I meant by advice, you are saying we are able to create a balanced diet for you from the app.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. No, that's said and done.
Yes.
The app is good, but you need the input of a medical profession, because when we talk of dietary counseling,
yes,
or dietary advice, it goes either way. You can either be obese or you can be undernourished. So
yes,
you should be thinking in the two dichotomy so that you can at least come up with a hub which is more inclusive. So you need more consultation, because you have concentrated on funds, availability, and how we can hit those funds. But
okay,
you're not telling us when we hit them in excess what will happen.
What will happen?
Because now there is that gap. Because at one point, I can overdo Managu, I can overdo Omona, and too much of everything is not nice.
True.
So think of getting somebody who is more oriented in medical issues, so that at least you even have a BMI aspect of it. So that you tell somebody when you overeat this and the BMI is like this, or the body mass index.
Yes.
Then you can.
I think that is an area of improvement which we will actually take into consideration.
How secure is the system? Where are you running it? Which framework or platform is it?
It's a cloud-based application, and actually whatever we are loading here is we have a secure server, which is where we actually hosted our application. Yes. In terms of the application security, we've tried to secure it as much as we can, and we are saying the information that we are sharing is not actually so much private. Like for instance, the nutritional information. So the only about the security bit is restricting unauthorized access into the application to actually modify and actually maybe change whatever is on the database.
How are you planning to make money?
I talked about premium users, the subscription, monthly subscriptions, and also selling advertisements on the application.
But if I don't have a smartphone?
That is a growing market. And we've identified that actually around out of the 80% who had smartphones in 2017, only about 30% of them had smartphones. So we are saying as the smartphone market grows, we are growing with the market.
So your market, when you're talking about your market,
yes,
who have you designed the app for?
Smartphone users.
All smartphones.
Both Android, both iOS. Majorly we've concentrated on the two. Yes.
I'm not convinced about the
I think if you got the customer first,
yes,
it would clear everything.
Yeah. Who is your customer? Don't confuse the customer and the market.
Okay.
It would really clear, maybe you're working with those companies or hospitals which are keen on the nutrition, like those people who are dealing with people with diabetes.
Okay.
So that is key. So that person would want to use that app.
So that, yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
For them to be able to manage that
diabetes, yes.
The diabetic issue.
Mm.
So would you sell the app to the doctors or to the people who are handling the nutrition part of it? Or it's a very good app.
Yes.
But unless you get your customer clear, you will not be able to go far.
So if I may add to what Catherine is saying.
Yes.
I'm looking at two things here. That's why I started first with the business model. I need to know where is the money in all this. Then, are you creating this for, like what I was asking one of the presenters yesterday, are you creating it for the sellers at the Koromone market? Are you creating it for the supermarkets? Are you creating it for the hospital? Are you creating it for everyone? And what is this everyone you're talking about? Because we need to know where the connection comes in. Then I will be able to know, okay, I'm targeting this market, and this is the market that is already crowded, and I want maybe to displace this. Okay, who are your competitors? Or are you the first person ever on earth to create such a solution?
We are saying we are collecting information about local foods, about the very local thing that you pick from your garden down, about managu, about terere, about that, and packaging it in terms of their nutrition value and the benefits you get from that. So I think adding into what she has said and what Kubai had mentioned earlier, I think we can also work with hospitals and service providers specialized like diabetes, so that through the customers coming to them, we are also able to sell through the hospital. So if you visit as a patient, you are also advised. You can be able to track your nutritional intake from this app, and also get suggestions of what you need to take more. Also, again, taking into consideration the issue of overdoing and maybe the BMI.
I think you can work very well with, was it George? Someone was presenting yesterday a solution almost like this one, but for him it was to, like if you're in a place and you want to know where to get food, it recommends to you this is where you can get it. It's like a recommender system.
Okay, thank you.
But check around, check online whether there is a similar solution.
Mm.
And what's new are you bringing in against what is already existing? But that's a very nice innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's your ask?
This is what we had for our budget.
Since there's no another question, let's appreciate him. Next is somebody was supposed to present on Monday, but he was not there. The biogas production guy. Then after that, we have the camp guide. Then we finish with Prometheus personal assistant.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kamau Alan, and affordable biogas production for domestic household using locally available materials is the topic. Yeah, my topic is on affordable biogas production for domestic household using locally available materials. The problem statement I'm covering is that we have costly cooking gas in the country. As we saw recently, there was a spike in the prices. Also, there is time wastage sourcing firewood and charcoal, burning, which leads to deforestation. And we also have costly biogas installation and maintenance costs. And this necessitates me to provide a simple solution using the plastic biogas model. This is just a model I have at home. Yeah, it's just a prototype of what I'm thinking about. And this is just another, yeah, this is just a continuation. As you can see, okay, let me just go back. You see, in biogas production, you just need an anaerobic condition so that the methanogenous bacteria, they can digest the organic matter and produce biogas. Biogas is just a mixture of CO2, methane gas, and some hydrogen sulfide. And yeah, this is just the anaerobic condition using these plastic tanks. And in this, you can see the 20-liter jerry can, the black thing over there. That is just the cleansing unit, which is filled with water and some ash so that the gas can be cleansed to remove the CO2, that is carbon dioxide. And in this, we have just a plastic soda bottle, and it is filled with iron wool. And the purpose of this iron wool, it is just to cleanse the gas to remove the hydrogen sulfide. When it reacts with iron, the gas becomes much cleaner. You remain with effective methane gas. And in this is a storage unit. When the gas is produced from the tanks and it have passed through the cleansing unit, this is the storage unit where it's kept. And this is the gas that is lighting up. That is the methane gas that is lighting up after the process takes place. And my model operation, how it works basically, it is just feeding it with organic waste. And gas scrubbing, I have explained that with water and ash to remove CO2. And gas drying, it is further scrubbed with steel wool to remove H2S. And gas production, it relies on anaerobic respiration. And the solution offered, it is to have an affordable biogas solution so that everybody in the community might be reached to. Because mostly the biogas installation, it takes a lot of time and mostly it is expensive. And the use of the organic waste, be it chicken waste, the cattle waste, it will produce much cleaner gas and it will reduce the decomposition that when it is left just in nature. And it is easy to manage these digesters. That is why I'm thinking about them. And the social impacts that will be brought, it is that greener energy production instead of using the firewood that is used mostly in the villages, and cleaner environment through better management of organic waste, not much dump sites, and healthier food production by use of digestate as organic fertilizer. It will also promote agriculture in a better way and also create employment for youth because they will be used to bring these materials together, that is for the construction and even for the selling of the biogas plants. And the market, I'm targeting small-scale farmers in the country, and since it doesn't need a lot of organic waste to run, it is much friendlier for small-scale operations. And the competitor analysis, it's true that in Kenya we have companies that are engaged in installing biogas, but mostly it is expensive. And it consumes time and materials, although they have bigger capacities, but my model is focusing on the small scale production, but that's a challenge that I have for now. And the competitive advantage is that the plastic model, they prove to have a good run in the market since installation will take much lesser time. And I'm thinking of maybe pre-installation, then as I sell them to the farmers, it will already be pre-installed, so it will take a less time, and the leaks are easy to manage, to assess and manage because it's just on the ground. They have not been dug on the ground, so they are just on top. So leaks are easy to manage and assess. And yeah, I had said about the pre-installation and seller's complete setup. And the innovators ask, is funding to improve on the biodigester volume capacities, because I'm still in the improvement of the prototype phase so that it can be the best option for each and every small scale farmer in the villages. And the limitations of the tanks in the market, it has limited capacity. So my innovators ask is that how I can be able to increase these capacities, because you've seen the small tanks, it will take a lot of tanks, but I'm thinking of maybe just a bigger tank of that same model, because that model, it have a good tensile strength that will resist any corrosion or even build up of pressure. It can't flow just like the other tanks that are used for water, because this is used for the chemical storage. Yeah, that's my project, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Yes, appreciating. Any questions to the presenter? From members, yes, there's a question.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
First, I love the idea.
Yeah.
It's a good one. So I have one question about okay, like you've said,
yeah,
it uses plastics.
Yes.
To generate, and apparently there's so many kind of such a project that have been made,
yeah,
and by people to still to make sure that there's improving on the as in there's no emission of, as in the conserving the environment, right?
Yeah.
So how is it, how have you planned it, you planned it yourself that it's going to be so convenient for any person who's going to have it or acquire it with others? Like how have you made it like it's going to be easy for me to come for a product than the other products?
Okay. Mostly I'm focusing on lowering the prices because I'm targeting the small scale farmers. Because mostly you see that the installation takes a lot of money and even a lot of time. So I'm focusing on easy installation and much cheaper compared to the other models.
Yes, sir. My question would be, what are you going to sell? Is it, are you going to offer the service to make for me that biogas in my home, or you are going to make yours and sell to me?
Okay, because I'm going to offer the installation and also the service, like because you have to fill the biogas. I'll make sure that it's complete set. When I come to install in your home, it will be a complete set and just leave you running it, just normally for daily use.
Is a question there?
Yeah, I like it because it is simple.
Yeah.
The best innovations are the ones which are simple to understand and are not very costly to do.
Yeah.
I once tried to get the biogas thing at home, but it was very expensive for me.
Yes.
So how much would like what you've done, how much will it cost? What materials are you using?
Yeah.
Because that one, do I have to have a cow? Or what are the other materials one can use, like the waste from the kitchen?
Yeah.
Or what is the material?
Okay. Basically, the materials, as I grab that. Yeah, basically it's the plastic tanks, the jerry can, the connecting pipes, the PVC pipe, and biogas storage pan, and also the cooking stove.
Now you'll come with this, eh? You'll come with the system.
Yes.
But as for the raw material, like...
Yeah. Okay. Now for the raw materials, okay, I have not included here, but now you need to have be it a cow so that we can pre-feed it first before, okay, because you have to make it 3/4 full at least before you start using it. Now
So
for that, I'm looking forward to maybe people for this moment, people with maybe cows, so that I can be able to fill it in with the cow manure for now.
You can also find out whether you can use other materials, like the waste we get from the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, you
yes.
can also work with that.
Yeah, it can be used, but now the problem is pre-filling first. Because you see it's a big tank, it will first need to be pre-filled. Yeah, all of them. I had tried with the chicken manure, but now it had some issues. Because you see for chicken manure, you just buy it and stir it and just fill it. But I had some issues with the chicken manure, so I can't maybe say that I will buy the chicken manure for the pre-installation.
You know what I'm thinking of is like in towns, like in Nairobi.
Yes.
If people are encouraged to separate their waste, like that waste which can be used there, you know, I remove the plastics, I remove the diapers, I remove the bottles and the rest, and maybe the remains of the food, the cabbages, the ones I cut out, and the rest, the ones which are biodegradable. Can it use that material?
Yes,
because that
can.
would be a big market for you even in towns.
Yes.
If people are convinced that it will actually make them want to separate. Knowing that I'm going to benefit from that, I would separate. Now, for me, instead of going to buy gas, I'm able to use gas. And again, now, you see now the way these, they are simple. But you'll have to make them look a bit, it might be, some people might not trust when they see what you're using, whether it will work. For you, it works. But you can make the same simple things like the plastics, can they be better looking? Can they be cut maybe in a uniform way? And you're saying that you're not able to dig it down.
Yeah.
It will be at the top.
Yeah.
How safe is it with the children around?
Yeah.
Just things to think about as you continue improving it. Otherwise, it's a good innovation.
Yes, is a question from Manason.
Yes.
I want to really say it's good innovation.
Yeah.
And will you manage to do all things by yourself, like piping, collecting the manure? Will you be in need of like a team working with, or you are okay alone? Because maybe you have two customers. Maybe you want to feed them. Do you do the piping alone? Do you do like everything alone?
Okay, like for this one, I did it alone. Yeah, but as I move ahead, I will need a team to work with.
To mean you are able to do it alone,
Yes.
but now when there is a bulk of work,
Yeah. As I continue to improve, I will have a team to work with.
Okay, in your innovator ask, you've not given us maybe a figure what you be in need of, like the entire thing, because you're a president, the entire thing. What's the figure? Maybe if you can just give us.
Okay, I haven't included the budget or the ask for now, but I will include it sometime, but not now.
Because we might be in need of anything.
Yeah.
What will we find you with?
Okay. Okay, like for this model, because I did it myself, maybe without the labor, I did it with approximate of around 30,000. Yeah, that is for this model. Yeah.
Including your service?
Yeah.
If you include your effort, now the labor.
Yeah, it will come around 40,000.
You only need 10. It's okay, it's okay.
Since there's no another question, I request that we break for lunch. Then the main presenters will come after we have taken lunch. So I believe there's lunch for everyone of us. So Mr. So and let's take the minimum amount of time so that we can finish in time. So Paul can show you where the serving point is.